It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The conference finals in the NBA have become routes. The Miami Heat have a commanding 3-0 lead over Boston after defeating the Celtics last night, 128-102. The Heat can clinch the sweep Tuesday night in Miami. In the Western Conference, Game 4 tonight, Denver at Los Angeles taking on the Lakers. The Nuggets can clinch a sweep and punch their ticket to the finals with a victory. To the NHL, Vegas 3, Dallas 2 in overtime. Vegas leads that series in the Western side 2-0. Carolina is at Florida tonight. The Panthers lead the series 2-0, having won both games in overtime. And yes, Ramon Foster still doesn't think the Florida Panthers are a real franchise. Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship by 2 strokes, earning his 3rd PGA title and his 5th major. To Major League Baseball, Braves 3, Mariners 2. Atlanta took 2 of 3 from Seattle over the weekend. And to the NFL, former Texans defensive end Jadeveon Clowney says he's open to returning to where his career started. The 30-year-old free agent spent the past 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. Mr. Clowney, you're not welcome back in Nashville. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Out of the blocks and ready to go on a brand new week. Happy Monday. It's a good morning to have a good morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Powered by All 4 Seasons Garage Doors. We've got an 11-year NFL veteran named Ramon Foster, a capitalized J journalist. That's Kayla Anderson. And the best producer in the world behind the glass, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer! Wow!
My name is Will Bowling. It is Monday, May the 22nd. We've got golf tournaments. We've got NCAA tournaments. And we've got 4 fast hours ready for you this morning.
Well, can we get to the real news, though?
What's that?
How fantastic is this weather right now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Feels like fall.
Well, they got that dog in it.
Yesterday was like a 10.
Yeah, it was. This
It's so
morning,
good.
to me, crisp, nice, beautiful. Goodness.
I love those mornings where you need a light jacket first thing in the morning. Then you
Right.
don't need it for the rest of the day. But just in the morning, just kind of wakes you up, ready to go. I know this is the northerner in me of the first 23 years of my life coming out, but dig it. Love it.
I love it, too.
I just put a sweatshirt on. Because then once I walked out the door,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take it off. I don't have a T-shirt on underneath. But, once I get home, we'll just take that sweatshirt off.
It's fair.
It's 57 degrees if you've not left the house this morning.
There you go.
I would encourage you to do so maybe a bit earlier. Grab some coffee, some breakfast on the way to work. Just roll the windows
Yeah,
down.
enjoy the
Yeah.
sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go frolic in a field. It'd be great.
Going to be off next Monday. So, hey, let's
Yeah.
enjoy
Good
it.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick berries or apples. Or
At 6 in the morning.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that time of the year to do that yet.
I don't
but,
care.
you
I'm
know.
just making up stuff that gets you outside.
I was riding with you, Kayla. Just
That
so
makes
you know.
sense.
You said
You know.
pick berries.
It sounds nice.
Who's got a lemon tree out here?
I mean,
I
you
don't.
do.
Had lemon trees.
Wait a minute.
Were you growing lemons?
Would you
Yeah.
kill him?
Did your lemon trees die?
That frost.
So life didn't give you lemonade.
That frost had that dog in it. It did. It smacked them straight out, Shay.
gosh.
Listen, it's like, I'm sorry, y'all. I tried. We put up a good fight, fertilized them.
Tears.
So
Roll.
life gave you lemons and frost.
Life
Right?
gave
Lemonade.
me- I
Life
mean,
gave him lemons and then took them away.
this time around, I ain't even get a taste of a lemon, y'all. It was sad times. And I got to get rid of the pots out front of my house now.
So do they shrivel up or they just never grow?
Honestly, when they frosted over, the limbs were just done. Like, it wasn't no coming back from them.
Okay.
It wasn't any
I'm not
coming
gonna
back
say
from
that
it. I
joke,
was-
but
You weren't what?
I'm going to say the joke.
Phrasing. Had a joke
I'm just
behind
going to
it.
be proper.
And
this
I
morning.
just trust.
And then by saying that, you were very not proud.
See?
So don't give yourself credit for doing something you didn't do.
She said the joke by not saying the joke.
She did. Yeah. I was somewhat I was let down by myself, man. And I'm debating on whether I should order some more to be let down again, or should I really need a greenhouse is what it is. Like,
Oh gosh.
I do.
Sure.
I got emotional about them. I did, y'all, because
You
I was,
name 'em?
yeah, no, well, I didn't name them. That's probably the problem right there.
You don't name things you eat.
You don't?
No.
What?
Because then you have to eat it.
But the plant
Well, I was,
itself.
the plant, no, well, I didn't name the trees. I probably should have named them like Pete and Repeat, and I didn't. That's the problem.
Well, you
right
didn't know
there.
about that joke yet.
I didn't, and see, that's the problem. I needed one tree to be like the other tree, and neither tree did anything.
You can name plants that either are a garnish or not edible. Like you could name like a mint plant.
So
Or like
kale.
basil.
Okay.
Kale.
Miss Basil.
Kale is
Miss Basil.
very edible. Kale's good.
I like where Kayla's going.
Miss Basil.
Yeah. I should have. So there were
Sure.
Meyer lemon trees. I should have named them Mr. Meyer and Mr. Lemon. That's
That
what I
will-
should have.
That I will accept.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
There you go.
Next time around, all right, we're going to make it a group project. How about that?
Yeah, I've never actually grown. I've never had my own fruit plant or
Fruit plant.
veggie plant.
It really
How,
is.
how
really
would you
cool.
make this a group project? Like, are we all coming to your house to water them, like on a
No.
designated
Y'all
day?
going to hold me accountable for how I
Oh.
treat them.
That's
Is
easy.
that cool?
Sure.
Well, we need to get Emily Pround back on the show because she was
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
growing a lemon
Yeah,
tree.
she grows a lot of that stuff.
She's
Her
going to be on the
name-
show this week, but she's going to be in Europe.
She
on
named
vacation.
her lemon tree and had a 10 out of 10 name for her lemon tree.
Yeah.
She
See,
named it
she
Liz
named it.
Lemon
Yeah,
There
she
we
named
go.
it Liz Lemon.
because that's a character in 30 Rock.
There we go.
That's not okay.
Swing and a miss by Ramon Foster.
Swing and a miss.
0-1 the count.
Yeah.
I didn't know your trees died. Mom.
They
I'm
did,
sorry,
man. I know. We're going to
Too
work
soon,
through this.
man.
We're going to
Hold
work
up.
through this, y'all. And right now would be the time that they would be flourishing, too. This weather would be perfect for them.
I know a little lemon in your water. Or
And I had it with the
Garnish.
last cycle of lemons I got. Oh my, they were good.
it's an
They were
antioxidant, isn't
good.
it?
Yeah, I mean, they were just tasty because they were Meyer lemons, and they don't sell them in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
See, something you didn't know right there, Will.
You and your lemon had a conversation about where they stood.
We did.
Me and Ryan Tannehill.
We had a conversation.
we weren't on the
Ramon
same.
this early in the morning. Ramon.
Oh my gosh.
We weren't on the same page. That's the problem.
And I told Mr. Lemon.
I said.
So you're saying you had a long-term deal with a lemon tree, and you never saw the end of that
And
contract.
then I drafted a
You
lifestyle. after
did you draft a tomato bush in the second round the next year?
I did. A tomato bush? Wow, I was thinking more like coffee beans.
Okay. Well.
Get it?
That's fine.
Little
No,
mayo.
No, I don't.
No, I didn't.
No, that was a stretch. You know what, man?
That is a
That
demerit.
was a bit of a stretch.
I'm okay with you telling jokes. Just make them
That was a
funny
bit of a
next time.
stretch.
Speaking of demerits.
What?
What?
Saturday night.
Oh, did you hear it the same time I did?
That's what you're going to start for my broadcast?
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
what?
funny. I
I'm
got like
out.
3 texts during my Nashville SC broadcast Saturday. None of them were about the game. None of them were about how fun of how good we sounded. None of them like, hey man, good call. All of them were about things that went wrong during the broadcast.
What happened?
Basically, I had technical issues and thought I put in my spreadsheet wrong and thought a team had won 3-0 when they lost 3-0. So I gave the scoreboard update, corrected myself, then recorrected myself, then had to correct the correction. And I literally said, well, as we say in my morning show, Ramon, Kalen, Will, I'm going to demerit myself for that one. And
That's
Jaleel,
funny.
you're just going to give scores from here.
That's great. Hey,
Again, I love that we're starting with that.
it happens.
What was probably our best broadcast of the year.
Right?
was.
I know, because I asked Will
No,
this
no,
morning.
no.
I said,
No,
how'd
no, we're not
the
doing it.
broadcast go?
It's fine. What else happened this weekend?
Great.
615-737.
Come on, Shay. Let him have it. Because we were all in the car and it's Kayla. I'm listening to him like, oh, man, Will's really demeriting himself right now. And it was a great broadcast. I listened for a while this weekend, dog.
Yeah.
And I was proud of him. And then it was just like, oh, well, that's all down the drain.
No, it wasn't all down the
It
drain.
wasn't all.
So I was at Buck's event, and I left it a little early because there's no way I was going to hang
Oh,
till
boy.
9:45. It just wasn't going to happen. So I left a little early. So I'm in the car. It's almost 9 o'clock,
Right.
and I'm driving up Broadway to get on the interstate to go home. And I'm listening, and I'm genuinely paying attention because I'm like, well, he told me if New England loses, Nashville's in second place, and I'm paying
Right.
attention. And then he reads the score, and then it's like blah 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 blah, and I went, that can't be right if this team won, and then it went off the rails. And here's the thing. I heard the pregame. I heard some of the game action. Y'all did a fantastic job, and it was a great game. But you have to know, working on this show, that the one thing that we're going to remember and bring up immediately on Monday is when everything went to.
And that was towards the end, right?
It was right very end of the broadcast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It had to have been like the last.
Hey,
This is what you get when I work as many hours as I do on this radio station.
And to Will's credit, I texted him because you went to Gary Smith's press conference after that. I texted him and went, "Hey, man, it happens.
It
happens."
Shafe, all it was, we was bringing him down to lift us up, baby. Kayla, we was bringing him down to lift us up. That's all it was, man.
I just felt
It
bad.
does happen.
I will start to get flustered, and sometimes
I really wasn't.
Well, I mean, it's just sometimes you get in
would
that
tell you if I
situation, and you know, it's just tough to get out of that situation sometimes. But it's fine.
I was just
No one's going to remember after.
no.
Well,
By the
because
way-
if I could have, if it wasn't so big of a story in the broadcast, I would have just moved on and never corrected myself.
Yeah.
And nobody would have known. But it literally was the result that sent Nashville up to second in
Right.
the
Yeah.
standings. So it was like, oh, I have to get this right.
So New England lost when it comes down to it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, they lost to Philly 3-0.
Okay.
It was a great broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Broadcast.
Speaking- Let's just cut it
Speaking
off right
of
there.
screwing up,
It
there you
was.
go.
Your karma's going to come
It
back.
did real quick. Then
Real-
it smacked
real
me
fast.
real fast.
By the way, I love how Ramon now recently has been wearing a lot of Pittsburgh Pirates gear.
Yeah.
He's very proud of his Pirates that are in second place in the division, just one game back from the Brewers.
Just happy they're above 500.
Second place, couldn't be my team.
And by,
You know
and by the
what?
way, speaking of mistakes,
Yeah.
The Music City Musical.
so I mean,
know.
see,
I know.
okay.
It does
I'm out
happen.
here bad.
happens.
It does happen.
It's fine.
You talk into microphones for long enough, and those things certainly find you.
I feel like I gotta say it too because I do have on this hat. Don't hold me to what emblem I have on the day, okay?
Well,
I've got a Braves.
Well,
I've
you
got,
got
a
two-
Cardinals.
you wore two in. What'd you wear? The Pittsburgh Pirates jersey Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. I wore that Thursday.
that was McCutcheon, right?
Yeah, it was McCutcheon.
And you've got a.
I love
Do you have a
McCutcheon, by the
Clemente?
way.
Yeah, I have a Clemente also.
I
Just
like
don't
the
hold me
Pirates.
accountable because I know some people who look at us like, hey, you got that Cardinals hat on for me. You just had on the Braves. Like, man, I just like the hat. Do I really have a team? Pirates, the most I've ever followed, other than like high school, it would have been the Cardinals. So
Is that what folks in Tennessee,
West Tennessee, yeah, it's mostly St. Louis.
Braves
Cardinals
are
fans.
mostly
Braves on this?
Middle
Yeah.
and
Well, the whole
East
state.
Tennessee. Well,
Cardinals
Memphis
do have
area,
parts of
yes,
Memphis.
there we go. Yes, so the area I was in was mostly Cardinals.
In this state, it would be Braves 1, Cubs 2, Cardinals 3, and
Cubs?
Reds 4. Yeah.
Okay.
and the Reds here too.
100. Well, the Reds are closer, or as close to Nashville as Atlanta is.
Huh?
It's
And
only
then
a
the
4-hour drive.
Cubs fans are everywhere because of WGN.
Right.
So true.
Because we
So-
used to grow up watching that too.
Like Bulls fans.
Like in every
and watch Bulls.
in every major city in America, like the Yankees, Braves, and Cubs would be like the second, third, and fourth biggest fan bases of every major MLB city.
that makes sense.
I mean,
Of
I
the
watched the-
non-major MLB
I watched the
cities.
Braves growing up, even though I lived in Pennsylvania because of TBS.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Superstation.
Well, WCW Saturday Night was also helpful too. That's where I got all my pro
What's
wrestling.
WCW?
That was a,
Is that
a
Woman
now.
Crush Wednesday?
It's now a. That's wow.
That's
Right.
that's what people post. They
It's-
post pictures of their girlfriends on
It's
Wednesday.
now a defunct pro wrestling organization, but we don't have time for that on the show.
How many
Rock-
wrestling organizations do y'all have?
It rivaled. Okay,
right now, there's
WWF.
two major ones.
Right.
WCW was legit though.
Back in the day, that's NWO stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the NWO
Well,
come
we'll
from.
get
Not
you caught up.
NWI.
I feel like he's trolling us right now. That
No,
was
I'm
sneaky
not.
No, he's
laugh he
not.
just
He's
had.
not.
So I will give you a little bit of defense, just a little bit. That for Pittsburgh people, the Pirates hat is more just a hat of the city than it is. I feel like the actual Major League.
I would
Baseball
agree
team.
with that.
Yeah.
So
And,
you
and-
all have the same colors.
and not only that, Chuck D wore that hat too.
Yeah.
Chuck D wore
yeah.
a Pirates hat back in the day.
Public Enemy?
Good.
I again don't know who that is. I'm
Oh
so
yeah,
sorry.
Public
What's,
Enemy.
is this the most iconic
Yeah.
emblem? It is, or Braves?
Is what?
Braves.
The Yankees are the most
Yeah, Yankees.
iconic logo.
Yeah. Well, and I would say the Dodgers are up there too.
Yeah.
I'd put Braves
Yeah.
second, Dodgers 3.
I was just talking about like
Braves
logo.
second.
What's the
What?
second biggest fan base in baseball?
Oh, but in terms
Do
of an
it.
That
iconic
was according
logo,
to a study. That
Oh, not even
I'm willing
close.
to have that conversation.
Do it.
Now,
it's
best
definitely close.
best type of like logo in terms of like Atlanta's hard to beat for
Yeah.
jerseys and all that.
Alabama stole your logo.
No, Alabama's A has a mullet. It has a mullet on the top of it. That's literally what people say.
I gotta go see it.
Oh my gosh.
615-737-1045. It is way too early to be this off the rails. So coming up next, the Big Ten needs to get its crap together with its television deal. Details coming out yesterday via Pete Thamel of ESPN.com. A non-serious television deal, to be serious with you. Josh Ward joins us at 7:20. Mike Tanier at 8:20 this morning. Lots still to come on a Monday morning here on RKW 104.5 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, it's time to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time and for good reasons. That's because they've served Middle Tennessee since 1994. And they've helped thousands satisfy residential customers in that time. They are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. Water intrusion and moisture could give you all sorts of problems down the road, and you want to get this fixed. It could be because you have poor drainage or surface water flooding over the walls, or underwater pressure forcing water into the basement, or it could be a plumbing leak. You just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space and will give you a plan to fix it. And if you do decide to move forward, you don't have to pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. So get that free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Josh Ward and Mike Tanier join us this morning. Josh Ward talking Vols at 7:20. Mike Tanier of Football Outsiders at 8:20 with us. And you can join the conversation at 615-737-1045. New reporting from ESPN.com last night tells us that the Big Ten is in a little bit of a difficult situation with its new television deal. New commissioner Tony Petitti is basically trying to make up for promises made by former commissioner Kevin Warren that he was not technically allowed to make. And now $70 million are going to be given back to Fox from each school because there were promises made by Kevin Warren that he was not contractually allowed to give. It's not a great situation. $70 million is in flux, nearly $5 million per school, which at the end of the day is chump change for some of these schools. But it has raised the concern that Kevin Warren essentially gave NBC the Big Ten championship in 2026, and he didn't have authority to do that. Because the Big Ten doesn't technically own its own television properties. Big Ten Network and Fox do.
Yeah. I know you said it's chump change, Will, but like $5 million and paying it back to a network in which you had no idea you was going to have to end up paying that to, that sucks regardless of whoever it is. Like, yes, they can make it back, but this really puts their growth on hold. Like, it looks amateur hour almost in a sense. Like, that's exactly what it is. Like, how is one person or a small group of people making these decisions when you know, like, the Big Ten is probably the second most popular division in college football? Like, you don't make these type of decisions. Yeah. Like, if the SEC is making a move, well, we need to be right in step with them. Like, and for this to be a story about a division that's looking to grow also, like, that's what's so terrible about it. Then you get these other teams and you look at it and you're just like, we didn't come over here for this. Imagine what SC feels like.
Well, first of all, I don't feel sorry for USC or UCLA. They can go eat a bag of bricks. I could give a what. Painful. However, UCLA and USC made that move because they thought that they could, in the long run, and they potentially will, make more money, right? And get a better TV deal. And UCLA was actually in big, massive trouble, guys. That's not been talked about a lot, but financially, they were in the negative. And a big reason why they made this move, eventually they will be making this move to the Big Ten. So while they're not in this particular situation, they have to be squirming a little bit just because this isn't off to a great start for when they're going to eventually enter.
Industry source tells Pete Thamel of ESPN that the deals aren't done and they aren't what they were represented to be from the standpoint of the NBC deal and the availability of all members to participate in November games in primetime. That's one of the bigger aspects of this. So they have to pay $40 million back to Fox, the conference does, because Kevin Warren delivered NBC the Big Ten title game in 2026 without authority to do so. They owe $25 million to Fox to pay them for lost 2020 football game inventory because of the pandemic. That was an arrangement that had already been made between Fox and the conference. And now there's more because Petitti has been trying to ensure the full value of primetime games that the blue blood programs are not willing to play. So the Rutgers and Marylands of the world are fine with playing November primetime games, but that hasn't been happening in the Big Ten. They've been on Big Noon, kickoff, and really 3:30 or 4 p.m. at the latest. When you add two teams that are on the West Coast, then Big Noon kickoff becomes big 10 a.m. kickoff.
True.
So you've got to make some more adjustments there. So multiple sources told ESPN there's been pushback from Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State to play late November night games. So then Petitti has to take the new primetime schedule, or lack thereof, and pay Fox back the value that it originally had in a contract that expected to have Ohio State, Michigan and Penn State in primetime. Well, if you have Rutgers in primetime, the value of that contract drops a little bit.
Sure.
Just a little bit.
Significantly.
So Penn State will play on the road in a short week on Black Friday. That was a game that was scheduled before Penn State ever agreed to it, playing Michigan State. Ohio State will host Michigan State on November 11th. That's the latest ever night game in the history of Ohio State football, which is viewed as another concession to help get the Big Ten through this.
What's the latest game they've ever played again?
I actually never knew this until the other day either. November 11th is the latest night game in Ohio State history.
And at what time? Like, what, 7 o'clock kickoff or something, I'm guessing? I don't mean to put you on the spot right there, but, like, how can Ohio State not have night games like that? Like, Kayla, you've been there, so let me just get it out
really
first. As far as it goes, like, is it because weather more
and
often?
travel.
Mm-hmm.
Weather and travel more often.
That conference spans more of the country than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So they play earlier games in order to counteract that.
And I'm guessing because of snow driving, probably lack of hotels, and is what you just say on that one. I never knew that was the case.
It's most of the places, right? Because look at Penn State.
Yep.
Look at Michigan. I mean, Big Ten country, central, part of the country.
I loved
Midwest.
it. I'd love to know of like what their schedules are as far as like I was like, we can't wait for a night game in the South. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, night game.
Didn't happen
Lights
much.
on. I guess so. Like they can go to a game, go home, and have the rest of their evening. Like it didn't really dawn on me until now, Will and Kayla, like that they really do play no later than about 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And now this is going to be pushing the envelope a little, just because, like Will said, they're trying to just make up for all this crap that Warren pretty much dug for them.
And now he's just at the Chicago Bears, just chilling.
And that's what I was going to say. Well, I can't remember. Did he just decide to, he moved on? He
was hired as their new president.
Right. I bet you he was like this.
They're such a big brand. They can't have stuff like this happening. This is neglectful on so many different levels. Like you're competing against these big networks. Like ESPN is just dropping bags right now as far as that go. The mouse is all in the SEC as far as Disney and ESPN, and then you have these type of situations that go on to where you got to pay back money. Like, look again, we look at Sankey and whatever they have going on in SEC, and you say, yep, I see why now. Mm-hmm. Like, the business model in which they've done makes a whole lot more sense, and it's really putting everybody else's conference feet to the fire as far as making this money. The ACC, I'm sure, is right behind this also. But, Kayla, you made a great point as far as the logistics of what UCLA and USC is doing. Yeah. Like, they are big brands. We got to give it. So I know they're a university of spoiled children and everything.
I mean, I'm gonna crap on them whenever I can. But yes, I mean, admittedly, yes, they are one of the brands in college football.
That blows my mind. But like Will said, that's like big 10 o'clock kickoff now for a team like them.
We always joked about Pac-12 after dark, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a real thing. But now it's like what, Pac-12 before brunch?
Before sunlight. Pac-12 before sun.
There you go.
Before light.
Would you not want to see Ohio State playing at SC at nighttime? Like that?
Absolutely.
That'd be money.
Absolutely.
Goodness.
That'd be sweet.
It's very odd to me. And the more research you do into this, the Big Ten is relying on its tradition of just playing day games. Yeah, tradition is not going to let you continue to compete with the SEC.
Nope.
If you want to play with the big boys, where it just means more, quote unquote, unquote, and you want to legitimately give your schools more of a financial payout year over year than the SEC does, which right now is the case in the new Big Ten TV deal. It's not all bad for Kevin Warren because at the moment, each of his former schools in the Big Ten will make more per year than the SEC.
That's fair.
Because ESPN got a heck of a deal with the SEC. So now with Oklahoma and Texas coming back in, the SEC is just watching all of this happen and thinking, if we need to renegotiate, everybody's going to be on the same page about the terms of it.
Sure.
I mean, this is a non-serious process for the Big Ten.
It is, man. It sucks though because they bring in so much bread. Like especially those blue bloods you named a second ago. Well, those premier teams, that Ohio State, that Michigan, and that Penn State. Who else am I leaving out of that group? They got a big three.
Look,
Mel Tucker, Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
We still on that train?
Of course.
I would say Wisconsin could be on the up and up.
Wisconsin is always consistent.
They're consistent.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They are always consistent. And their new head coach,
Luke Fickell.
Luke Fickell. Mr. Fickell himself. They should be more relevant too. So, but look what you're competing against. The SEC, who's got two other teams coming in.
Sure.
The last few years of the national championship as it goes. Sankey, who doesn't look like he's trying to stop it. And, of course, these commissioners in the SEC, and we ain't even mentioned Saban and the coaches. Like, think about Brian Kelly leaving I thought, a very great job at Notre Dame to come down to the SEC. Again, there's a lot of traction in college sports, and the money is what's behind most of it, if not all of it at this point. And you can't be paying back money as a university to a big network anyway. Like, you're hustling backwards is what I would say on this one.
And look, adding Oklahoma and Texas right now just seems more, I guess, logical than adding USC and UCLA in terms of how they won't have to do as much travel, right? They won't have to change as much of the times. Like, we're talking about, they're really going to have to figure some things out when those two join the conference. You guys, the West Coast is a completely different time zone. It's a completely different audience. I am really interested to see how that works.
Yeah.
So a SEC, in my eyes, has a one-up on those two joining when it comes to the Big Ten and the Pac-12 teams joining.
The Texas move and Oklahoma move, like you said, seems natural. Like, I can make a rivalry out of Texas right now. I think Mississippi State could. I think as far as Oklahoma and let's go Georgia making a rival. Like, when you look at the way the Big Ten has been set up right now, and it may be, maybe I'm overlooking it, underthinking it either way, but like USC playing Rutgers doesn't do anything for me.
It's just weird.
Well,
You know what I'm
nobody, and no one playing Rutgers does anything for you.
I know,
it's Greg
but
Schiano.
but it just really, it doesn't do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
USC Michigan does.
USC Michigan does. Is it so that what
UCLA Ohio State does.
we're landed on those 5 teams?
I think it makes more sense than what you guys are talking about for those teams to the Big Ten, because I think academically and tradition-wise, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten have always been aligned.
Academically. And tradition, okay, I'll give you that.
Traditionally,
I'll give you that.
USC is a very similar brand to Ohio State and Michigan. Just in terms of its football tradition. I know West Coast versus Midwest, there's a huge gap there, but I would argue that's probably the case with Texas going to like South Carolina.
That's fair.
I mean, the travel is still similar.
That's fair. Except, like
What's the
Kayla said,
time
the time
difference,
zone.
though?
Like,
Yeah.
you go from Central to East. You're going from Pacific to Eastern.
This is
Sometimes,
just,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not an athlete, but this was just when I lived in Columbus, Ohio, making the trip back to the West Coast was just as difficult as it was making the trip here back to the West Coast. I just think that it's, I mean, whatever. I guess they're athletes now. They can fly private and stuff. So
Yeah, they have the chart of planes, but I guess
I don't think it'll be as smooth as
the grandfather teams in right now with the original Big Ten, they'll be fine. The teams that really got to worry about it is SC and UCLA. But to the money side of it, again, this can't happen. They got to figure out a way how to redeem themselves moving forward on this one. Fox getting paid $5 million a team by this conference on something they had no idea about. That sucks. It just does.
Quoted in the article, you've got Tom Izzo, who's on the record saying the schools and the coaches are the last ones to hear when things are being changed.
of course they are.
For a guy like him, who's as storied as he is, to not be in on these conversations. When we look at the SEC, I hate to just do this. Now, screw it. Saban probably knows, right? A good bit of it.
I think anyone in the SEC knows what's happening because I think Greg Sankey is pretty good at communicating with his athletic directors, university presidents, and chancellors.
What makes him good? Communication.
This can't be that. And for coaches to be publicly saying, like, we don't know, we don't understand what's going on, that is a terribly ran organization. Before, I guess, how do you say his name? Petiti? How do you say it?
Petiti.
Petiti. That's a heck of a last. Petiti. That's a place where you're hustling backwards, Will. I say that again. I hate it for him, but it is what it is.
Well, maybe this is the first time the time zones has become an issue because an 8 a.m. conference call with Big Ten officials is 6 a.m. on the West Coast.
Right. Well, and did you see what the Pac-12 is doing in terms of their network, which I don't even know how it must be hanging by a limb because now they're doing anything they can to bring viewers in. So they're doing like live interviews in game. They're going to do stuff with like locker room stuff. They're going to mic up player. Oh yeah, this is a
Like
real
the
thing.
USL?
That's gonna happen everywhere this year.
You think so?
Because Pandora's box has been opened, and I believe the ACC is the second conference to already okay that. That's on our list for next week when the spring meetings happen. The SEC is going to okay that too. Yeah. That's going to be everybody
With
this year.
players, too?
Yep.
They're going to mic up players and have more, I don't know.
Interaction?
In-game stuff, yeah.
Wow. Is this because of USFL and XFL model?
It's just the next step of creating value and getting more money out of television contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bigger paycheck.
I'll say this as a player, college player, well, they're getting paid now.
That's what I was going to say.
But like this really puts you as an employee.
You mic them up, you pay them?
You got to be able to have something like they got to get a collective bargaining agreement or something. That's extra work.
And then you have them on the video game
Right.
next year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're just moving to where everything's collectively bargained.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to be. And that's, as Will mentioned, that's why there's going to be athletes in the video game.
I can't wait.
I love what moves you, Will. The video games.
It's
Nostalgia.
moving him this morning.
Get 'em, man.
The NCAA video game is a hallmark of society and should be treated as such.
I actually
It is
care
a
about
cornerstone with which this country was built.
it. You trust them to make it?
Of course. Well, EA Sports is not great at what they
That's
do,
what I was
but,
gonna say.
but I don't care. That
Okay.
game could be the exact same game as NCAA 14, just with updated jerseys, stadiums, and stuff. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine. And that game's terrible. It's terrible, but it's terrible for me. It's mine.
Actually, off break.
Anyway, more headlines coming up on a busy weekend in a 3-0 series that Ron Slay predicted if you followed him on Twitter in the NBA. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Genesis Diamonds never hesitates to expose other jewelers with their high markups and lackluster warranties. The founder of Genesis Diamonds started the company with the determination to turn the whole retail jewelry business upside down with fair and transparent prices, ironclad warranties, no commission salespeople, and zero-risk shopping experience. Most recently, Genesis has exposed insane markups on lab-grown diamonds from other jewelry stores. Some jewelers are making obscene profits on lab-grown diamonds. So don't buy until you get a second opinion from Genesis. Genesis can often sell you the same lab-grown stone for 50 or 60% less than what some stores are charging. The bottom line, Genesis is not like other stores. They always put the customer first because they are playing the long game and building trusting relationships. And if you're getting engaged or married or celebrating a big milestone soon, Genesis is the place to go to. They have rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, colored gemstones, exquisite designer jewelry, hand-picked diamonds. They've got what you want at a price you can have confidence in. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes too. Located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Sign up for a chance to win tickets to Monster Jam World Finals as it comes to Nashville's Nissan Stadium for the first time ever. That's coming up July 1st. Be there to see faster racing, higher jumps, bigger tricks, and unbelievable wow moments and surprises you won't soon forget. Sign up to win tickets today, 1045thezone.com/contests.
Sounds like a great time. I'd go to Monster Jam.
Monster Jam.
I've gone to it.
Yeah, have you ever been to Monster Jam? I have.
I think I have once when I was a kid.
Yeah, I went to
me
the
too.
arena, not the stadium.
Me too.
Yeah.
In the Geck back in the day.
Yeah.
I went to the stadium one. It was awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You say you'd never drive one, though. You drive a NASCAR, but not a monster truck.
Yeah, the back thing, man, going up in the air like that, slamming down, and
I mean, he ain't wrong.
those
It's
dudes
hard on
got
the
back
body.
issues,
That's
like
true.
for real.
Worried about
like,
your back end.
I've already had enough
Yeah.
train wrecks. Heck, why would I get in another train?
I was in a car crash multiple times every Sunday for 11 years.
Oh, I was about to say you was in multiple car crashes. Man,
That's not
that was
funny.
me. It's
Mom,
not. It's
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I'm the captain now.
Let's get it together, guys. Schaefer missed one part of that promo. It's that they're going to sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. 615-737-104.
Will Bowling!
Yeah, we sell you the whole seat to RKW, yet you only need the edge.
If you need a seat at all.
So it's 6:48 in the morning, and I think I'm going to clown a softball coach,
Let's do it.
Okay.
college softball coach. This is a first in
And
this
this is
show's
where we're
history.
at.
I
Wow,
guess.
okay.
doggone
Shonda Stanton,
Go off, King.
the Indiana softball
there it
coach,
is.
decided to stand in front of the tarp during a rain delay on Saturday in the NCAA tournament because she didn't want the tarp to come out because her pitcher or the Tennessee, she had bases loaded against Tennessee, and Tennessee was about to pitch with the bases loaded in a 2-0 Tennessee lead. And Ashley Rogers, the Tennessee pitcher, couldn't grip the ball, and this coach literally stood in front of the tarp, so they couldn't start a rain delay.
It's like when they don't want to cut down trees and they used to, like, in the 70s, lay down.
I
So they
told you
wouldn't cut down the
when I went to
trees.
Cal Berkeley.
Oh, Big Ten country.
Yeah.
You are an idiot.
Oh, we made that
dog.
joke last week, too.
Yeah, I know. That's the first time I ever saw air quotation mark like tree huggers is what they were calling them when we were out
Sure.
there. I was just like, wow, never witnessed this in my life. So she stood in
She
front of
literally
it.
stood in front of the tarp. We're not going to get into an in-depth softball discussion at 6:50 in
Why
the morning.
not?
You
But
should
this
tag
was-
Buck.
But this was a while. He's not going to see. He probably has me muted, like he has the show muted. But it was just for the sake of like things I've never seen happen during a sporting event on television.
Yeah.
File it in this category. I've never seen a coach protest a rain delay by standing in front of the people who are trying to like keep the field in good shape.
Hey, man.
That was a first for me.
Kind of funny.
She was trying to get to it, Will.
She was.
And by the way, there's plenty of moms and dads getting up this morning, Will, from travel softball tournaments. Man, we can talk about softball,
I'm not
dog.
going to denigrate the name of softball. I'm just saying,
Oh,
for the larger listening audience who's shaking their fist at the beautiful blue sky this morning, saying, "Why are we talking softball at 6:50 in the morning?" There's something for everyone in this story.
See?
Yeah,
That's how
there
you
is.
do it right there. Yeah.
Protesting.
I watched most of that weekend
Sports.
series. Tennessee dominant,
Oh,
heading to the
they
super
were.
regional against Texas University.
Yeah.
Golly.
Did Middle Tennessee end up?
They lost 1-0
That was
in
a
the final
heck of
game.
a series.
Jeez.
It took another Tennessee team beat Alabama. Ramon was the headline there.
Yeah, you know what?
Middle Tennessee took Bama to the wire.
Brink,
Bama, never heard of her.
right?
Mm-hmm. But good for the Lady Vols, man. I'm glad they're getting this same praise. And honestly, may have more steam and momentum than the men's baseball team is how I look at this one. Like, they are legitly good, man.
The
Yeah.
Tennessee baseball Vols have the 5th best odds to win the national championship going into the SEC tournament
5th best odds.
After this weekend.
in the country.
But
Yeah.
man, it's hot right now in Knoxville, and I'm here for it.
Took 2 out of 3 from South Carolina.
I saw somebody, so I was talking trash this weekend, of course, because this is what I do,
For
right?
sure.
And speaking
Right.
about the Vols baseball team, and I was just like, I tweeted out the wins and stuff like that they got on South Carolina. Big time for them. Needed it also. And somebody tweeted me, I got to figure out who it was. It was like, hey, regular season champs over here. Florida, I guess, won it. I was
well,
like,
that's because Arkansas lost.
Yeah.
And by the way, Vandy played a heck of a series this weekend.
Yeah.
That was big time because to stay in the 8 seed nationally, to be able to potentially host 2 rounds. That was a big series for them to win. And it was a huge comeback effort in that Saturday game, 8 runs in the 8th. And
Crazy.
then Saturday was the last game. Friday was that game. They came back and really kind of did the same thing on Saturday. So shout out to both teams in Tennessee. Hopefully playing their best baseball coming into this SEC tournament.
And Enrique with a monster
Dude, that
grab.
guy he's going to be a star in the league. I'm going to put that out there now. Wait for it. He will be.
Yeah, they share the SEC title with Florida. Arkansas does.
Oh,
Co-champions.
Couldn't be my team out here sharing
they are
it.
co-champions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't be my team.
There are no tiebreakers.
Could Arkansas have won it solely if they would have beat Vanderbilt?
I believe so.
Okay, that's what it was.
The headline as well from the basketball world last night is that Ron Slay made a bunch of you money if you followed him on Twitter.
Yeah.
The Heat lead the Celtics 3-0.
Woo-wee.
And I took the over with him and thank Ron Slay for his service.
Wow.
Not a close game.
No,
Boston.
it wasn't.
Boston.
What's going on?
Everything.
Neither of the conference finals have been remotely competitive. Both 3-0.
This is one of those TV contract situations where everybody saw the Final Four right now. It's like, oh, we get Lakers Boston. No, you don't.
Nope, you get
Yeah.
you get Heat Nuggets and you're gonna like it.
Heat
Right?
Nuggets.
Miami's an 8 seed.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Their leading
But-
scorers, go look them up. You probably won't know them.
Jimmy Butler.
No, last night.
Yeah.
Oh, Miami's.
Yeah.
Miami.
Last
night.
Oh,
This is like, that sound like a meal, don't it? That sound like something from a comedy. Hey, Mom, heat the Nuggets.
What? Oh, my God.
Tell me I'm lying.
you knew both of those teams were teams.
Oh, my
Right?
God.
I was working on something else. What just happened?
So he said,
what just happened?
Ramon said,
All I heard was Heat the Nuggets.
Ramon said, yeah, everybody wanted Celtics Lakers, but instead you're going to get Heat Nuggets, which sounds like something from a movie of Ma, heat the Nuggets.
The meatloaf. Meatloaf.
Where's Will Ferrell when you need
That's
him?
so great. I had nuggets last night.
I can
feel it all the way down in my plums.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a different Will Ferrell role. My bad.
That's all right.
That's
that
good.
works,
Yeah.
too.
Just as good.
615-737-1045. Coming up next, the golf took center stage yesterday. It did. It really did. Post-Tiger, golf is thriving, and Jonathan Schaefer can't stop me. Next on 1045 The Zone.
Actually, I can. 7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The conference finals in the NBA, they've become routes. The Miami Heat have a commanding 3-0 lead over Boston after defeating the Celtics last night 128-102. The Heat can clinch the sweep Tuesday night in Miami. In the Western Conference, Game 4 tonight with Denver at Los Angeles. The Nuggets can clinch a sweep and punch their ticket to the finals for their first time in franchise history with a victory. To the NHL, Vegas 3, Dallas 2 in overtime. Vegas leads the series 2-0. Carolina at Florida. The Panthers lead the series 2-0, having won both games in overtime, and Ramon Foster still skeptical the Panthers are a real franchise. Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship by 2 strokes, earning his 3rd PGA title and his 5th major. Major League Baseball, Braves 3, Mariners 2. Atlanta took 2 of 3 from Seattle over the weekend. And former Texans defensive end and Titans legend Jadeveon Clowney says he's open to returning to where his career started in Houston. The 30-year-old free agent spent the past 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. Mr. Clowney, don't pass Nashville. Just keep on going, pal. We don't need you. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
A very good Monday morning to you around the Music City and around the world, Craig. And welcome to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. Alongside Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Jonathan Schaefer behind the glass.
The best producer in the world.
My name is Will Bowling, and I will be honest, over the weekend I had someone ask me, a family member of a friend who was in town, asked if I'd seen the movie Friday. And no one else in my group of friends had heard of it. And I said, while I have not seen it, I feel like I have, considering the people I work with.
The best producer in the world.
The world, Craig. The world.
And I
That's
quoted
from
that.
Friday.
That's
right.
At least you could quote that.
My friends were like, "What do you mean Friday?"
Oh, my God.
I'm
Look at Ramon.
not like, I want to be disappointed, but I'm not. I get it.
Does
Yeah.
he need to see it, though?
Anyway.
I get it. Yeah, he needs to see it because it's such a really good movie. I think it's classic for what
It
they
is.
did with that budget and how people of all just like walks of life like know something from it. It's just like me, like it's almost like watching Rocky almost in a sense, like or Rambo.
No, those are great movies. Rocky movies.
Different type of.
It's like that.
You don't like the Rocky movies?
I mean, you really gotta really want to watch them. I like them. I don't love them. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. Rocky
like
don't
the-
move the needle.
the
Is
one
it just
with
me or have
Michael
these
B.
tables
Jordan
turned?
now.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you love anything.
All right, can we
I know.
Can we be real about it with
do.
the Rocky movies, though?
Do it, Shafe.
2 of them are great.
Fair.
2 of them are great.
Fair.
So you're not counting any of the Creed movies?
No. He said Rocky. I'm not
Rocky.
counting Creed with that.
Rocky's
Rocky
different.
I would
is
count
in
them
the
in the universe.
In the universe, but when he said Rocky, I don't think he was mentioning Creed. Is
No,
that
I
correct?
wasn't.
Okay,
No.
so if we're going to based off those parameters, only 2 of the Rocky movies are great, and that's 1 and 2. And then the rest of them are of various states of good to nah.
Why do you hate our country? You hate the United States.
Look,
of
Mickey
America.
Ryan and I have had just scathing debates about Rocky 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Scathing debates about Rocky
It's
4.
a great
It's
movie.
a bad movie.
I couldn't
How
tell.
long have I known you?
But here's the thing.
Without
no.
knowing that you had
No.
this very wrong
Shut
opinion.
up. It's
Shut up, he
look.
says. Oh
I
my God.
enjoy the movie. I will rewatch the movie, but it's cheesy. It's kind of corny.
It's fine.
It's not
Continue
really
on.
well written or directed. I love the workout scene. You know, I love when he's when he climbs the mountain and does all that. but it's not a good. Now, Rocky V's just a bad, abysmal movie. It's terrible. It's bad.
I have not gone that far in this.
And then the
series.
Rocky Balboa, which was Rocky 6, it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it.
You
it
liked
was
Rocky Balboa more than Rocky 4?
As a movie? Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Now Sylvester Stallone just has a reality series. So there you go.
Well, he's also doing Tulsa
There it
King
is.
on Paramount, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's right.
And
He is doing that.
it's
Paramount
fine.
shows have
It's
taken
fine.
a nosedive.
It's all right.
Other than Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, that's where I was on like Rocky. Like I watched it out of respect for culture.
Mo, you
feel
with me on this, right?
I'm talking about.
I'm
You
not
need
gonna-
a passenger ride.
The first two Rocky movies are phenomenal. They're great as movies. And then Rocky, and I already got people calling and they're going to yell at me. I'm used to this.
Come on with it.
But the thing is that they're just not, they're declining movies. I have not seen the Creed movies the whole way through. I haven't.
They're really good.
I need to.
Solid.
And I've heard they're great. I haven't seen them yet.
Because Michael B. Jordan's awesome.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Well, you're going to hate me. I'm going to add
Right.
that in every time.
But Rocky,
Yup, you did do it.
Rocky 3 through 6.
I'm no longer going to hold back my opinions on movies.
Hey, you ain't
Because
wrong.
I'm just not a movie guy
You
in
can
general.
be wrong. It's okay.
Like, I accept the fact that I have seen many fewer movies than I should. That's not even a generational thing. That's just me not being a movie person in general.
I think I've
Like,
got.
I admit that.
Yeah, I've got caught in that in the last 10 years, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Where I just haven't had time.
And it's
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm just gonna throw it out there just because it's just how I feel, and y'all gonna hate me for it. I'd watch Friday 50 times before I watch all the Rockies.
Why are you getting mad? I didn't say anything
No,
about
I'm
Rocky.
just saying in general, like that's just where I'm at with like Rocky. Like Rocky's a one timer for me.
okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, Ice Cube and
Okay.
Chris Tucker.
Y'all would be shocked and appalled to see the list of movies I've not seen that everyone's seen. But that's okay.
You seen Scarface?
No.
Fast Times
Say
at
hello to
Richmond
my
High?
little friend.
No.
No,
I'm
you
not.
hadn't seen
Grease.
that?
I'm serious. I just haven't seen any movies.
Fight
Like
Club?
I'm a TV show guy.
You seen Fight Club?
I've seen bits and pieces. I've not seen the whole
7.
thing. I've not sat down and watched all of it.
Oh wow, well,
7 of what?
the movie
7.
Oh, I didn't know.
With Brad Pitt.
I had no idea what that is.
Have you seen Godfather?
Again, pieces of it, but
What's
I've
in
not
the
sat
box?
down and watched all of it.
1 and 2. 1 and 2.
That actually has been on my list for a long time.
Okay. Goodfellas.
Nope.
Casino.
Nope.
I love how all the movies you
I
are.
told you.
like,
Gangsta
Mafia.
movies.
The list is
Gangster.
really, really bad. None of the Star Wars.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I have. Well, actually, no. I'm a show Friday Night Lights guy, not a movie.
Well, that's, yeah,
The
I love the
show.
show.
The show's
show is
good.
phenomenal.
If I see that dude, if I think this is it, throwing that football the way he does on that movie, I forget. Oh my God.
Well, Michael B. Jordan is one of them in that
You
one
don't-
too.
you do not
That's why
slander Michael
Kayla's-
B.
That's why
B.
Kayla's
Jordan.
seen it.
I hate watching football movies like that sometimes.
This is
and
a
shows.
series.
I know the show even. I'd
Because
be
they
like,
don't make any about offensive linemen other than the
no,
blind side.
it's just so. Yeah, you're right about that too.
they didn't make the offensive lineman the
That's
star.
fair. That's fair. We got Rudy.
And
we
he
got
wasn't even
Rudy
the
as a
star in that
defensive
one. It was
player.
Oh,
Sandra
yeah.
Bullock.
Have you seen Rudy?
Of course.
Okay.
You have seen
Rudy came and spoke to my school in high school.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Ah.
It was pretty cool.
One tackle.
Did you say Sandra Bullock? Because that's the only thing I heard out of that entire
Welcome back,
sequence.
Jonathan Schaefer. Let's go to Bam on the phone line. 615-737-1045. What's up, Bam?
What's up, Bam?
What up, fam? Yo, let's get to it, man. Shafe, you were starting a war this morning.
I don't
sir.
care.
That is not even right, bro.
No, I'm
That is
right.
not even.
I'm
Bro,
right.
Rocky 3 has some of the most iconic. That's got to be one of the
No.
most iconic soundtracks too.
Rocky
Like,
3's
Eye
a
of the
good
Tiger,
movie.
bro.
Rocky 3's a
Yeah.
good movie. It's not great.
I like-
It's good.
It's better than the first one.
Oh, no.
Like,
not even
come on,
close.
bro.
Oh, no.
Come on, bro.
Oh, come on.
Bro,
What are we
come
talking
on, man.
about
They
here?
start picking up the scenes, bro. They start picking up the steam. You got the most iconic.
Please.
Eye of the Tiger, the soundtrack to it, bro. Come on, man. Mr. T, come on, bro. Like, bro,
All right, no,
that's
but I
gotta be one of the-
love the line in Rocky 3 where he goes, prediction, pain. I love that line. The
That's what
line's
I'm
great.
saying.
The line's
Yeah,
great.
you
4
forgot-
hours
I
a
don't
day.
like
you
Rich
forgot
Rocky.
Hogan.
I don't like Rich Rocky. Rich Rocky's a
Oh,
punk.
my goodness.
Bro, okay, and that's why he needed Apollo Creed to get him back together.
That's right.
why he needed.
That's right.
My point exactly.
Agreed.
So,
And that
But
hug
it-
on the beach,
bro, come on, man.
bam.
I love it.
It's fine.
Oh,
But it's
I'm
weird.
saying, you got to give
my
respect to 3, bro. You have to give. You have to give respect to 3. You have to.
I have respect for 3. I just don't think it's
But
as great as other people think it is.
I do hear your point on 4.
It's just so
it was hit or
cheesy.
miss.
It's so cheesy.
It was hit or miss. I like the James Brown living in America thing.
100%.
But at the same time, it's still like, it's the ultimate, like, when Rocky just, it's the, I don't know. It's like an inspirational story that no matter what happens, you're going to come out on top.
Right.
Now,
and that's
that was a waste of film.
Agreed. I just don't think.
Agreed.
Just much like Derek Jeter, I think they're overhyped.
Oh, Derek Jeter's definitely overhyped.
Jesus, overhyped.
You know what? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Shape is on one this morning, boy. Look, you make sure you go outside and make sure your tires aren't flattened, okay, buddy?
We got a gate now.
Thank you, Bam. Appreciate the call.
No one's getting in the gate now.
I hate that you just compared Rocky to Derek Jeter.
Well, I did that
worse.
just to make you feel awful.
Because
So
Derek
that
Jeter's absolutely overhyped.
Yeah.
One
So
of
is
the
Rocky
overhyped
4.
players
So
in
is
the last
Rocky 4.
20 years of baseball.
So is Rocky 4.
I got one more movie to ask you about. Jaws.
Well, Jaws is an all-time classic.
Phenomenal.
I hadn't seen. I'm not.
Oh,
Jaws
my
is
God.
legit.
Hey, Ramon.
Yeah.
Black people don't watch Jaws.
It's just that's probably fair.
You
Like,
watch
I
it, you're
don't-
not really
That's
not getting
gotta
in the
be
water.
racist.
I hadn't seen it. Like it didn't move me enough to want to watch Jaws.
I was afraid of pools.
I mean,
after
I
Jaws.
was too.
Pools.
Brooks Koepka took the Wanamaker Trophy from the jaws of defeat yesterday, the PGA champion.
Oh, God.
He won his 5th major, and Michael Block stole the show. Club pro from Mission Viejo, California, who finished in the top 15 and is one of the newest sharks of the PGA Tour. Coming up next, Josh Ward from the Sports Animal in Knoxville joins us. Major recruiting buzz for Josh Heupel over the past few weeks, and what Tennessee needs to do to host an NCAA regional in Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Coming up with Josh Ward on 104.5 The Zone. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Or do you have wall switches that don't seem to work? Well, these all seem to be simple issues, but they are rarely do-it-yourself projects. Dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional, and you need to call the pros over at Lee Company. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off an electrical service call for a limited time. So contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com for an appointment. Skip the do-it-yourself projects. Let the pros over at Lee Company help you and save $20 on an electrical service call today by calling 615-567-1000. Do what I do and trust the folks who have been trusted in this community for nearly 80 years. That's 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with our whole crew here on a Monday. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling, and joining us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, our friend Josh Ward from the Sports Animal in Knoxville. What's up, Josh? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How's everything in Nashville?
We are good, and we are looking forward to an NCAA tournament weekend coming up in just a few weeks for Tennessee. But first, Josh, I've got to start with the fact that have you ever seen a coach block a tarp pull in a baseball or softball game by standing in front of the tarp, like what happened in Knoxville over the weekend for Tennessee softball?
No, I mean, it's the beauty of the sport or sports because they're connected in baseball and softball. You see something new every day, every week. Some of the best, everybody loves blooper videos, right? Some of the best blooper
Right.
videos you're going to find are Major League tarp videos where somebody who is doing his or her best to help with the crew gets caught up in it and ends up rolling with it or getting lost, and you have to go find them in a very tense situation. So the romantic side of baseball, sometimes it comes from the sport, sometimes it comes from everything that surrounds the sport.
Josh, there's been a major recruiting buzz around Josh Heupel in Tennessee over the past few weeks. What's the excitement level like in Knoxville right now, and how high are expectations do you feel like for this class of 2024?
Yeah, recruiting expectations are high, just like the program's expectations have risen over the last couple of years, especially this past year. So what Tennessee did on the field this past fall gave Josh Heupel and his coaching staff a chance to show prospects what we told you is going to happen is happening. And they've done it in an exciting fashion, as Josh Heupel has described it, the most exciting brand of football in college football, and that's the sales pitch to prospects. And then when those guys see Hendon Hooker become a Heisman candidate and Jalen Hyatt win a Blitnikoff Award and Darnell Wright go in the top 10 of the NFL draft, there was just so much more for the coaching staff to sell. They're still selling the future because they're still trying to compete for championships in the future. But now instead of just promising what's going to happen, they have results to show prospects. So that has led to more high-level 4- and 5-star prospects to at least want to consider Tennessee and take visits to Tennessee. And recruiting is off to a good start with this class. I think they're going to get a well-thought-of running back here very soon, Peyton Lewis. It's not much of a secret at this point from Salem, Virginia. And then with the Memorial Day weekend coming up, Tennessee has a long list of highly touted visitors that are planning to see Knoxville. And you still have to win battles. Finishing second or third for a 5-star that goes to Alabama or Georgia is not going to help you. But we've already seen Tennessee win a few of those battles for guys that are on campus now, like a David Hobbs, defensive lineman, or linebacker Arian Carter, Ricky Gibson, Jordan Matthews. These are guys that could have chosen other SEC schools that were highly touted that chose Tennessee. And if Tennessee's able to continue to win on the field, they'll win more of those battles. But right now, expectations are high because Tennessee has put itself in a position to recruit with the best schools in the country.
Josh, there's a big event coming to Knoxville soon, man. This 865 Live. Can you break that down for me personally and just for our listeners as to what this is? Because there's a lot of recruits coming in for this. What does this do? Is this like the big send-off as far as recruiting or what?
Yeah, so you could just read the list of prospects that they are planning to have come to campus, and you never get 100%. But you could just read through the list, and there's the rest of your show because it's that long of guys. And I mentioned 5-star guys or highly touted players, so some inside the state of Tennessee, like Caleb Beasley and Boo Carter, who's been a big-time target. I mentioned Peyton Lewis. I mean, the watch is on for him to see if he announces something soon, the running back from Virginia. But then a tight end in Jaden Riddell is a big-time target for Tennessee that Georgia may be the leader for, but Tennessee is pushing for him. And then at receiver, Tennessee is trying to make a big run with Amari Jefferson, who is a really important prospect in this class, and then Ryan Wingo and Mike Mitchell, and they are in a position where Tennessee has a chance to really impress in getting their 4-star quarterback and Jake Merklinger on campus, with Nico, of course, already being at Tennessee. So you've seen over the years Tennessee has done different things with different coaching staffs, and other schools do as well in terms of trying to put on a show to impress prospects. But right now, getting as many players to campus and highly touted players to be around one another to see what's going on at Tennessee. And then, of course, as much as you can have current players speak on behalf of what's going on with your program. And then, you take a shot. There have been other players in the last, I would definitely say the last year, where at the start of the process, you say, okay, it's great that Tennessee's in the mix, but are they really going to land that guy? Hobbs might be one of those players. At one point I would have said Alabama's still going to be a tough team to beat for Arion Carter, and then he sees what's going on at Tennessee, and he chooses Tennessee. So Sammy Brown, a top linebacker in the country, is he a guy where I don't know that Tennessee's the favorite by any means, but can you change that? That's what this upcoming week is. That's what it's about for Tennessee, trying to change how these prospects see Tennessee, who are already impressed, but trying to take it to the next level.
When it comes down to that, to those prospects, I like to look at both sides of it. Of course, I'm a VFL, but I also try to look at, other message boards and see what they're saying. I have to ask you this, as far as the 4-star quality guys, 5-star guys that we've got, well, Nico, that is, and I think David Hobbs maybe also, where is the actual quality of those guys too? Because you can be a 4-star, but you can be closer to a 3 than a high 4. Like, where are we at as far as overall quality?
Yeah, I think really good. So if you talk about the guys that are on campus, I mean, part of it is where are they ranked? Because you're right, not all 4-star guys are the same, not all 3-star guys are the same. When you look at rankings, literally top to bottom. But then I also look at the schools that you beat these guys out to get. So Ricky Gibson, I mentioned his name among players who are on campus now. He was a guy that he wasn't rated as high as everybody else in his class, but when Georgia's making a push, that tells me something. With Arion Carter, when Alabama really pushed until the very end to try to get him, that tells you about his talent level. And then he shows up on campus, and he appears to have an understanding of what that position is at linebacker and what they're going to ask him to do. And that's why I'm not saying he's a starter right away, but he might factor in as a freshman at linebacker, and over the next couple of seasons, I think will play an important role of what they're able to do at that position. I think they like Jeremiah Thielander in that role. So now as you go into the 2024 class, I think the same can be said when you look at the other schools that are interested in these players. Tennessee has a long list of guys that every school in the country wants. So it's not there's a check mark next to the player's name that Alabama offered, but is it committable? Georgia offered, but can he really go there? Tennessee is recruiting with Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and LSU. Those level programs where you expect them to land the best players in the country, that's who Tennessee is competing against for a lot of these players.
I know that you had touched on a topic on your show, and I thought, why not ask you about it? I thought it was interesting that the Tennessee versus Florida narrative has changed a bit. And I wanted you to kind of explain what goes into that, or why that is a topic.
As recently as a year ago, there was still the losing streak against Florida, and Tennessee had only won one time, 2016, against the Gators going back to 2006. It had just been such a tough go. And going into last season, there was a lot of optimism and confidence about what Tennessee could do against Florida, but also still some hesitation of, okay, is this going to go the wrong way because of what had happened against Florida? That was just this time last year heading into the 22 season. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at power rankings, Tennessee is top 4 or 5 in the SEC. And if you look at Florida, closer to the bottom of the league. And Tennessee going to Florida this year is projected as a touchdown favorite, which is about as big as Tennessee has been a favorite going to Gainesville. And that is subject to change because this is May. But the conversation right now at Tennessee is program on the rise, recruiting with the best of the best in the country with legitimate optimism. And Florida's doing fine in recruiting. But there are all kinds of questions, whether it's on the field, quarterback, personnel, NIL. Keep going down the list. And those questions that had existed for Tennessee for the last 15 years too often are no longer there. And Tennessee has become the team that is challenging Georgia in the East. Florida's the program where they're asking, hey, if this goes wrong, are we in another situation where we don't know what's going to happen with our head coach? The mindset has completely changed in Knoxville. And there can still be that, what if things go the other way attitude, but I don't sense it right now. And I sense a lot of optimism and confidence about what Tennessee's going to do at Florida. It's not a guarantee. Mm-hmm. Going to Florida always has to be considered a tough place to play, and that needs to be the mindset, and I think it'll be the first real test for Joe Milton and the offense this fall with Virginia, Austin Peay, and then you go to Gainesville. But considering the off-season conversations we've had too often about being just nervous about the Florida game. I don't sense it right now among Tennessee fans. I think that's another sign of the mindset and the attitude around Tennessee football changing.
Let's go to the Diamond now. And a good weekend for the Tennessee Vols as they're going to now head into the SEC tournament that starts up this week in Hoover as the 7 seed, taking on Texas A&M. What do you feel like in terms of this team's momentum right now that could propel them in the postseason?
Yeah, Tennessee turned everything around from what was going on when the Vols were 5-10, and they're getting swept by Arkansas, and they're losing series against the best teams in the conference. And it was going to be a difficult stretch, but we came out of it saying, well, are they going to get things fixed? And they've gotten some things fixed. And it doesn't mean everything is perfect, but we've asked about the pitching. Okay, well, this starting pitching that was talked about so much going into the season, they've had to change things around during SEC play, but it was as good as you could have possibly asked the starting pitching to be this past weekend. And Tennessee beat good opponents along the way, beating South Carolina on the road. Winning on the road has been a big question. Well, they win 2 out of 3, needing to get game 3. So they've turned a lot around, and now there is that word, momentum, heading into the postseason without the same level of expectation as compared to a year ago. And this weekend, Tony Vitello kind of offered a reminder that, I said that it would take some time at the start of the year, and what last year's team did and the team the last 2 seasons did kept being connected to this team, which was largely unfair to a lot of these players. And this team needed time to figure some things out. Tony asked, have we played our best baseball? Hopefully not, probably not. And that's why I think there can be some optimism moving forward. So let's see what Tennessee does in the single elimination round. There's a chance to host a regional. If you do that, that gives Tennessee a chance to have an advantage going in to get to the super regional. And then at that point, best 2 of 3 to get to Omaha, which last year's team was not able to do. So they have a lot of work to get there, but this team can do it. This team can go to the College World Series, and maybe there is something about being the team after the team that's expected to do everything. Last year's team had all the pressure. This team will have some, and there'll still be some people rooting against Tennessee, but not compared to a year ago. This team is in a really good position right now.
Josh Ward, our guest here on RKW. Josh, is it fair to say that Tennessee needs 2 wins at Hoover this weekend, and if they get those, then they're probably hosting in the NCAA tournament?
I would say that's probably fair to say to feel totally confident.
Okay.
I guess you never know, but with their RPI situation where it is, they've moved up there, winning 2 out of 3 against South Carolina, a team that they're competing for in that spot. I would say you win your single elimination game, maybe you're in a really good spot to go ahead and lock it up. You just don't know. So, yeah, win a couple of games. That seems to be the common thought going in. But this past weekend was crucial, and Tennessee did that. So I would go in with the mindset of need to beat Texas A&M, need to advance into double elimination, and then let's see how it goes. There's the funny conversation as well of let's win a couple of games, and then let's get out of there. So,
Sure.
Can you lock up that regional, and then you won the tournament last year, so you're good there. So go ahead and win a couple of games, and then call it a tournament. You don't necessarily tank, but if you don't win, that's okay. Get ready for next week and the ultimate goal of getting to Omaha.
Josh, I think this new idea for Tennessee around Neyland Stadium is really interesting from Danny White as Tennessee tries to change its environment maybe a bit more to be like an NFL or pro environment versus a typical college one. What was your reaction to this new plan and this basically request for information from Tennessee to the city of Knoxville? It seems like Danny White, just using the baseball analogy, never swings for a single or a double. The dude only is ever swinging for a home run when he does things like this.
Yep, I like it. And I think a lot of people will. There are some obvious questions about parking and traffic's a lot of fun. I don't need to tell you all about traffic, but it continues to grow in Knoxville as well, so that'll add to it. But here's how I view it. So Neyland Stadium and Thompson Bowling Arena, which is right down the road, and it's a part of the release as well. But Neyland Stadium is the attraction. But it's an attraction for 7 or 8 football games a year. And you have the orange and white weekend, which is nice. But you have 7 or 8 home games a year. Tennessee wants to take Neyland Stadium, which is that kind of attraction, and turn it into the point where everybody looks to 12 months out of the year. So you create more entertainment that can be connected to basketball, that can be connected to baseball and other things happening on campus, but make that spot attractive to create more entertainment, create more dollars into the future. And they also have the downtown stadium project that's going on for the Tennessee Smokies, and then Tennessee has pro soccer, which is growing. So this is thinking well into the future. There's a lot of time that will have to go into this, and more resources and planning and changes that will take place. But it's about taking that spot and creating something new for 2025 to 2030 and beyond that. It's not about what it's going to look like this upcoming fall. That's not this. This is about planning for the future and turning Tennessee football into, it's like professional sports. I mean, those photos that they shared in the release, those are from the professional ranks. And it can come back to sports. So I don't even think about this as sports entirely, but it can come back to the recruiting conversation. If you create this entertainment hub that surrounds Tennessee football, that becomes more attractive to football prospects and basketball prospects that are thinking, hey, in the next year or two, I want to be a professional. The more you look like a professional operation, the more attractive it'll be to recruits out there. So something more entertaining for fans, something that's more entertaining for Knoxville in general, and something that will take Tennessee to the next level, because I think that's the thought of the SEC and big-time college football, which Tennessee wants to be a leader of.
Josh Ward has been our guest. You can hear him on 99.1 The Sports Animal in Knoxville. Josh and Swain doing a great job covering Tennessee out there at our sister station. Josh, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much.
Always fun. Thanks a lot.
Josh.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. And more to react to coming up next. Plus, ESPN.com ranked every 133 FBS schools' quarterback situations using 20 different tiers. That's what we're doing now. 20 different tiers in late May. Where Tennessee landed and where other SEC programs landed. Coming up next on Ramon, Kalen, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Business owners, are you feeling stretched thin by the pressures of growing your business, keeping up with changing regulations, and staying HR compliant, hiring and retaining top talent, handling payroll? The list goes on. It's tough to maintain momentum and still keep your employees engaged. Fortunately for you, there's Insperity. They put over 35 years of HR, service, and technology to work to help you develop a people strategy that scales with you. What if your HR strategy included access to better benefits to help you keep the employees you have and attract new ones? What if it also offered training for your employees to increase their skills so they become more productive? There will always be challenges to face in business, and no matter where they come from, Insperity is ready to help you move past them by providing the HR solutions you need. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
The Sweet Ain't Got No Roof. That means 104.5 The Zone and the Nashville Sounds have teamed up for another sweet night with 3HL. You have a chance to join them at First Horizon Park as the Sounds take on the Iowa Cubs May 24th. Oh, wait, that's Wednesday. Yeah, listen to 3HL for chances to win or sign up online at 1045thezone.com today.
Sounds like a fun night at the ballpark. Every fun night. Every time you're at the ballpark, it's a fun night.
Yeah.
It's a good time. 615-737-1045 is how you join the conversation here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We've got Ramon taking his breakfast break out of the studio and texting us about a conversation we were having in the studio while you were on your breakfast break.
Really?
Yeah, Will brought it up as you walked out the door, I think, literally.
That's pretty cool right there. I had no idea y'all were looking at that.
Yeah, Mike Keith is a great follow on Instagram. If you have not given him a follow, at TENN Voice on Instagram. Anniversary of his original contract letter from the Tennessee Oilers today. Pretty cool.
That
Really
was
neat.
really cool.
Yeah.
It's real short in words. Just told him, hey, you are now. Go see it. Go follow
Yeah.
Mike Keith. I don't even want to tell you. It's worth looking at. It is really cool.
May 22nd, 1998.
Yep.
98 was a good year.
It was a good year.
Really
Wasn't it?
good year. Yeah.
I don't remember
man.
that year.
Guessing that was the year you were born, Will, right?
No, it wasn't. It was the year Tennessee won a national championship. Not everything's about me, Schaefer. Come on, man.
What was 98?
It was.
98's the year
98.
Tennessee won the national title. That's why I said it was a good year.
Okay.
Technically, it was in 99, but it was 98 season.
Yes, sir. 98 season. You're
Penalties
100%
offset,
correct.
replay the down.
Oh.
ESPN ranked every single team's football quarterback situation because David Hale, the ESPN writer, I guess, has a lot of time on his hands.
Clearly.
20 different tiers.
Jeez.
Which tier would you guess Tennessee would be in?
Second tier.
2.
Tier 3,
Okay.
Oh.
which actually surprised me a little bit.
Okay.
So tier 1 is the guys will be dissecting with every throw between now and next April.
Yep.
Is tier 1. That's Caleb Williams and Drake May. Then there's tier 1B, which is Florida State's Jordan Travis, Oregon's Bo Nix, Utah's Cam Rising, and Washington's Michael Penix Jr., former Tennessee commitment.
He really changed himself around?
Who are you talking about?
Michael Penix Jr.?
Yeah. I've been talking about him since last year.
I know you
Mo.
have. You've been dropping his name like
Yeah.
crazy. And I'm just like, okay, got to watch Pac-12. I got to see this for myself. I
Like,
didn't know it was
they
like
got,
this.
I hate saying this again because it's UW, but they got something going up there.
I got to see it for
Offensively, specifically.
myself.
Yeah, they've been good. Second tier, you have Arkansas's KJ Jefferson, Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels, Michigan's JJ McCarthy, and UTSA's Frank Harris, who plays Tennessee this year, by the way. That is not a cupcake game, by the way,
No.
in any stretch of the imagination. Tennessee's hard non-conference game this year is not Virginia, it's UTSA. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
The Roadrunners, meet
Beep,
me.
beep.
Yeah, they're good.
Y'all did it at the same
I know.
time.
That's their thing.
It is.
Is
Yeah,
it?
meet me.
It's kind of
Didn't
fun.
know that.
And then Tennessee is in the same tier quarterback-wise. The tier is called Never Question the System. Some of these I'm okay with. Some of them I'm very not okay with.
Okay.
Alabama's Tyler Buckner, Jalen Milroe, or Ty Simpson is in the same tier as Milton Iamaleava. I don't know about that one. Clemson's Cade Klubnik,
Iamaleava?
that I'm okay with. Georgia's Carson Beck or Brock Vandegrift, I'm okay with that. Ohio State's Cal McCord and Devin Brown, and then Drew Aller at Penn State. Which that guy, you talk to people around that program.
Penn State?
Sean Clifford's 10-year run as the Penn State quarterback has come to an end.
He's stupid.
He's been there as long as John Fulkerson was at Tennessee basketball. And Penn State could make a big jump this year. That's a sleeper pick among college football people that know more than me.
I get this tier, though, when you say never question the system.
Yeah.
You trust the process of how they operate.
Right.
And I think that's fair, considering you look at Alabama's like, well, they're going to be put on the platform because they're Bama.
But I love how they just are like, because it is such a kind of competition right now
Yeah.
with those three. It's just like, well, any three. Any
yeah.
of those three.
it really ain't weird for Alabama. We've just recently gotten used to them having a guy at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, they've never been a forefront of like quarterback play.
Yep.
The only difference that I would give to this is that I think Joe Milton is also in the category of we're going to dissect every throw he makes this season.
Oh, yeah.
Only because if he's good, again, he's going to be picked in the first 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still surprised when I or others say that. I don't think it's even a question. If Joe Milton meets his ceiling, he is a first-round pick, no questions asked.
Oh, you ask Andy Staples if Joe Milton reaches his ceiling, he's the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
100%.
And Andy went to what university?
Florida.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you had an outsider like him saying that went to UF.
Andy's as good as it gets in college football writing, though.
Yeah.
I know, but
Right,
I'm just
you
saying.
know that.
Yeah.
But just to tell the people as well, if they're unfamiliar with Andy.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm saying, like, to hit your point, there's a bunch of like pro allegiances as far as like your school where they don't really talk highly about like other schools like this.
I think just with Joe Milton getting the attention he's had in the last couple of months alone, I mean, has really kind of put him up there in terms of quarterbacks to watch. And like Will was saying, especially down here in the South, all eyes are going to be on his every move, right?
Yeah, it is.
But I think he's starting to gain that national attention too. Like, oh, Joe Milton, man, that guy has a strong arm. Like, we got to watch him.
Yeah, for real. And in today's game, you need that. If he just figure out a governor to put on that cannon every once in a while, then that can be a very special quarterback year for him this year.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Mike Tanier will join us in hour 3. The chaos will likely ensue from whatever he has to say about the Tennessee Titans. NFL.com had an interesting article. This one is about NFL quarterbacks and a ranking that I certainly disagree with. Because Ryan Tannehill is getting absolutely bodied. In a ranking of quarterbacks, Bucky Brooks says have a very make it or break it year. And he ranks quarterbacks he's most confident in. And he's got some dudes in front of Ryan Tannehill on this list that are absolutely disrespectful. Coming up next as hour 3 begins on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It is 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. The conference finals in the NBA, they have become routes. The Miami Heat have a commanding 3-0 lead over Boston after defeating the Celtics last night, 128-102. The Heat can clinch the sweep Tuesday night in Miami. In the Western Conference, Game 4 tonight, Denver at L.A. The Nuggets can clinch a sweep and punch their ticket to the finals with a victory. To the NHL, Vegas 3, Dallas 2 in overtime. Vegas leads the series 2-0. Carolina at Florida tonight. The Panthers lead the series 2-0, having won both games in overtime. To golf, Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship by 2 strokes, earning his 3rd PGA title and his 5th major. And Major League Baseball, Braves 3, Mariners 2. Atlanta took 2 of 3 from Seattle over the weekend.
Travis d'Arnaud will lead off the inning and send a drive to left field. That's got a chance. Pollock on the run. That ball is gone. Home run. Travis d'Arnaud, his first of the year.
Atlanta took 2 of 3 from Seattle over the weekend. And former Texans defensive end Jadeveon Clowney says he's open to returning to where his career started in Houston. The 30-year-old free agent spent the past 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. That's fine. Go back to Houston. We don't want you here anyway. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 3 on a Monday morning edition. Welcome. It's RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in 20 minutes, Mike Tanier of Football Outsiders joins us. We'll ask him the question that we posed at the end of last week. A lot of talk about a tempo offense for the Tennessee Titans. Is that enough to make us believe they can improve in 2023 under Tim Kelly versus what they were in 2022 under Ramon's guy, Todd Downing? That's Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
She's Kayla Anderson. And behind the glass, there's Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen.
The best producer in the world. Of the world, Craig. The world.
I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number to join the conversation. Or you can also join the discussion on the F&M Bank chat, 1045 The Zone TV, where you can watch us every single morning, 4 hours a day on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch. We are there live 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Unrivaled.
Making it happen.
In the Music City and beyond.
Making it happen.
NFL.com and Bucky Brooks ranked 9 quarterbacks that he feels like are in a make-or-break season, and he gave them confidence rankings. And this is downright disrespectful to Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion. So 9 quarterbacks that he is either confident in or not confident in. Number 1 on this list is Jared Goff.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable. While I don't totally agree, I think it's reasonable. Second most confident, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hold up real quick about Goff.
Yep.
I like him. I hope he does okay, but I don't want him to do great because Hendon's there. And him getting a big contract sets Hendon back a few more years. I just got to be selfish there for a second.
Mm-hmm. Goff and Tannehill have similar contract situations.
Yeah.
Where you could get out after this year and be good to go.
Yeah.
Jimmy G being second, I'm only not confident in him because Josh McDaniels is his coach.
Thank you.
And they don't have Darren Waller anymore. He's gone.
Nope.
They got Avonte Adams. They might not have Hunter Renfrow.
Apparently, they're shopping him. Like, they're open
and
to move him.
he's not happy anyway.
He said he wasn't happy. He said they're not on the same page in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's a disaster, and that's the stupidest ranking to put him at 2. Sorry.
Number 3 is Kirk Cousins. I would put Cousins ahead of Jimmy G, and actually probably Jared Goff as well. You know I'm kind of a Kirk Cousins fan.
Yeah.
I like him because I feel like you could see him at like an Applebee's on like a Tuesday night. He's like, hey, it's happy hour down the road. Are we going to – like I just I don't know. Kirk Cousins, just a normal dude.
Drinking a Miller Lite.
Jimmy G, not a normal dude. You don't see Jimmy G's walking around.
No.
I see Kirk Cousins 20 times a day.
Yeah, 100%.
You probably wouldn't even think he played sports.
Tuesday night, players' night off in the NFL for the most part, Applebee's. Neighborhood
on a
restaurant.
date night?
Yeah, on a
Really?
Tuesday night. Usually Tuesdays are like player day off.
Neighborhood bar, huh?
6 o'clock dinner at Applebee's. Yeah, well, you're 100%
No free shout-outs, but
Right.
and it's not slander either. Applebee's
it's
got
not.
us through college, man.
Truth.
Half off appetizers. Come on now.
the next two guys on this list, though, is where this gets disrespectful to Ryan Tannehill. Because number 4 on Bucky Brooks's confidence rankings for make-or-break quarterbacks is Mac Jones.
Come on, man.
What are we doing?
That's sick.
Mac Jones threw 11 interceptions in 12 starts last season, or 14 starts, 14 games played. He did have an identical completion percentage to Ryan Tannehill in 2 more games, had 14 touchdowns compared to 11 picks, was sacked 1 more time than Ryan Tannehill was, and he didn't even have Dennis Daly blocking for him, or not blocking for him, I should say, because Ryan Tannehill didn't have Dennis Daly blocking for him either. He just had him kind of standing there.
Daly's just sitting in the desert right now trying to get warmed up for his workouts, and he just catch a stray?
Yeah.
Yeah, Double D is going to
It's
catch
not
strays
stra-
for the rest of his life.
That wasn't a stray. That was intended for him. A stray implies that, somebody's just minding their business and they,
He ain't above board. That was
something.
for him.
No.
Okay, that's real.
Kidding me?
That's real.
We hold players accountable on this show.
With that explanation, I'll allow it.
Dude, Mac Jones even got zapped last year.
It was zappy hour for a couple of minutes there. I wonder if Kirk Cousins was there to enjoy the drink specials at that zappy hour.
Actually, there was
might
a
have been.
guy that looked like Mac Jones behind serving drinks at the Applebee's.
Oh, there you go.
See? Tell me that's not him.
Number 5. Number 5, also one I have an issue with. Bucky Brooks says he is more confident in Jordan Love this season than he is in Ryan Tannehill.
Now that's
What?
That's crazy.
What's a Jordan Love? We know nothing about Jordan Love.
Nope.
No,
Not a
absolutely nothing. And I'm going to be real with you. He was put in a bad situation. I somewhat hated for him as a pro because Aaron Rodgers just basically said, watch me do work. And what you going to do when Aaron Rodgers does that? Green Bay can't upload him at that point. They can't take him off the books at that point. The dude won the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fitting for what he was supposed to do.
By the way, isn't their wide receiver group almost as poor as the Titans?
No one's as poor as the Titans right now, in my opinion. Christian Watson is there.
Right.
They don't have Randall Cobb anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Added some pass catchers in the draft, which was ironic considering it was the first one that Aaron Rodgers wasn't there for in quite some time. But it's still not a great receiver situation. You're right. So the thing about that is Tannehill was better than Aaron Rodgers last year in almost every category.
Wow.
Why would Jordan Love be better than Ryan?
They love to give him some love right now. That's a thing.
I thought this was more about risk and confidence of what's after this year, though, make it or break it. Like, I think Tannehill, I think it's fair, Will.
Compare Rodgers and Tannehill last year. Ryan Tannehill had a better completion percentage, better yards per attempt. He was only sacked 1 more time, played 5 less games, only sacked 1 more time, had a lot less help up front, and had less interceptions. Actually, half the interceptions that Rodgers had a season ago. 6 versus 12.
Rodgers really struggled until the final stretch of games.
So we going with what the number said. We're going with benefit of the doubt and knowing that it's Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's benefit of the doubt for sure. But, Tannehill's quarterback rating last year in a vacuum was better than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm still taking Aaron Rodgers.
Well, of course.
Of course. That's like, we can break this down. Like, this is the thing with Tannehill. Like, it's bothersome with how he is judged. Like, he's probably the most unfairly judged quarterback in the entire NFL.
You think so?
100%.
I think he's right up there.
Kayla, to me, I don't know anybody that's more unfairly judged than Ryan Tannehill right now. And the way I look at it is, I think it's fair for those guys to be ahead of him on this list because you got to look at the new GM, Vrabel. Like, the expectation to win. Having Will Levis, some people think, is a real first-round draft pick here in Nashville, too. I think the leash for Tannehill is probably as short as anybody can ever say it without them ever saying it. They won't say it, but the idea that you want to move past him because of his cap number, because of the idea that he can't get past the Cincinnati playoff game, because of he's not a premier quarterback because you got 22 right here in Nashville. I think this is fitting for Ryan Tannehill to be on this list. It's so easy to snip the cord on Ryan Tannehill and everybody be like, who's the Titans quarterback again?
No, and I agree with you on all that stuff. I think the confidence for him is probably not a lot in terms of just the national picture. You know, when you compare him to other, here specifically, yes. But you look at guys like Jordan Love and Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sorry, but the confidence with that, when you look at the team and just look at like what's around them, who their head coaches are. I'm specifically talking about Garoppolo in that situation. The pressure that's on Jordan Love, the immense pressure that is on Jordan Love because he is in the Packers organization now. He is supposed to now take over for what Aaron Rodgers was for so long for Green Bay. And who was before Aaron Rodgers? Brett Favre.
Yep.
Like, so when I look at it from a confidence perspective of who really should have the confidence, Ryan should have the confidence.
Yeah.
But nationally, nobody has the confidence. Even locally, nobody has the confidence.
Nobody has the confidence, too. And you're in a bad situation because of the way the offense looks. Like, these guys in front of him, Jordan Love, they're going to have to depend on him. Like, you go up and down this list, Mac Jones is even going to have to make plays for him. Kirk Cousins got one of the best wide receiver trios in the game as far as Justin Jefferson, Addison, and, like, T.J. Hawkinson. Like, they really do have the weapons to make it happen. Here for Tannehill, it's just like, all right, man, if he failed, it's probably your fault when it really ain't.
Bucky Brooks has Ryan Tannehill 6th on this list and says the writing is on the wall when a team selects a potential quarterback of the future in back-to-back drafts. Yeah, that's fair. That aspect of it is reasonable. 7, 8, and 9 on this list. Baker Mayfield is 7. Desmond Ridder is 8. And Sam Howell is 9th. So Ryan Tannehill is in the same conversation as Baker Mayfield, which that is ridiculous.
Yeah. Baker's on how many team?
Baker
Third?
is a backup
5.
quarterback in the NFL.
5?
This is on Browns, Carolina,
Browns, Carolina,
Rams.
LA, Tampa.
4.
Yeah.
The
Carolina one is the one I forget.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it was
That
a
was
cup
a
of coffee.
Quick, shot of coffee.
But you know what this last, what is this, 4 on this list says, though? With Ryan Tannehill at number 6, we're easily moving on from this group. Like, and everybody, let's be real about it. Even us here, we've had those conversations. Like, if Will Levis looks like whatever in the preseason, if he's above board, if he can make those tight window throws, like, we've already put Levis ahead of Malik. You see what I'm saying? Like, imagine if he gives us a spark here in the preseason as far as Levis goes. Tannehill's on the outside looking in as far as this goes. So this list, at the last 4 in this group, says this: Baker Mayfield, easy to move on in Tampa. Desmond Ridder, okay. You still in, you playing with house money with him.
Still, yeah.
Sam Howell? I know the perception of it.
No, I'm just joking.
See what I'm saying? Like, legitimately is one of those situations to where it's like, well, if they win, it's cool. If they don't, then we'll find somebody else the next year. And it's only thing is here, your next year guy's already in the house with Will Levis.
Who's the backup in Washington?
Washington? Ain't he got
I mean, that's
Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett is.
That's right.
Yep,
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett. And that's your contingency plan right there if Sam Howell doesn't work out. Everybody on that list after that, maybe except for Atlanta, got a contingency plan ready to roll right behind them. And the thing with Desmond Ridder to me is he got tools and weapons now to actually make something happen. And it's like, if you don't make it work with this group, and I'm seeing the list right now: Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. If
those
Ryan
are
Tannehill,
dudes.
think about if they had a list like this here in Nashville. We wouldn't be questioning, okay, what the offense is going to look like. It's just roll the ball out.
That's what I was going to say. Can Atlanta, if stuff doesn't go right or Levis performs here, they call up Ryan Tannehill? Yo, this is Arthur.
Exactly.
Want to come play over here where all the other Titans are?
And think about, I mean, we're up against about everything that we want Ryan Tannehill to do. Be more upfront. Be around for the offseason. Speak a little bit more. Give personality. Talk about other things as far as this season goes. Like,
he's here. He's been here.
And he's answering questions, and it's still not enough. So my confidence on him moving forward is teetering a little bit.
NFL writer Mike Tanier joins us coming up next. A lot of talk about the tempo offense here in Nashville. How much does that move the needle for him? We'll ask him the question on the statement Ramon just made that Ryan Tannehill is the most unfairly judged quarterback in the NFL. Does Mike agree? We'll ask him coming up next on RKW 104.5 The Zone.
This is your Off the Track Racing Report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
$1 million All-Star. Kyle Larson dominated Sunday's NASCAR All-Star race at a revitalized North Wilkesboro Speedway to win the $1 million grand prize. He led 145 of the 200 total laps. For Larson, it is his third All-Star win, all at different tracks. He's also tied with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jeff Gordon for the second most All-Star race victories. Jimmy Johnson won it 4 times. Larson also swept both weekend events at North Wilkesboro. He won Saturday's Craftsman Truck Series race, too. For the resurrected track, North Wilkesboro hosted its first NASCAR events since 1996. Up next, the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race time is at 5 o'clock on Fox. Plus, Memorial Day weekend means the Indianapolis 500.
This has been your Off the Track Racing Report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
I'm Liz Allison. For years, you've heard me talking about State Water Heaters and how they are a leader in the industry, providing the most durable residential and commercial grade water heaters. I have a State Water Heater in my home, and you should too. State Water Heaters are professional grade, sold to professionals in your home or business. And you can get one installed in your home or business just by going to statewaterheaters.com, click on the Find a Local Installer link, and you'll get your water heater in your home just like me. State Water Heaters for the professionals and you.
It's Monday morning here on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you as we go back to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, talking Titans with our good friend Mike Tanier, who joins us this morning. What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy start of OTAs, if that applies to you guys, which I believe
it
does. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We will see and hear from players tomorrow. Mike, Ramon made an interesting statement before the break that I wanted to run by you as we begin here. And he claims that Ryan Tannehill is the most unfairly judged quarterback in the NFL. Do you agree or disagree with our good friend Ramon Foster?
I would say he might be the least judged quarterback in the NFL. Maybe that's unfair to him, but yeah, he's been around 12, 13 seasons, and like in terms of like the amount of takes, opinions, thoughts, etc., that have ever existed about Ryan Tannehill, it's been very few. I mean, he spent so long in Miami, where the story in Miami was just like, well, it's Adam Gase, or well, maybe this kid will come around or not, or well, one offensive lineman's bullying the other offensive lineman. He goes back that far. And, he comes to Tennessee, obviously has a good season and a half there. But I don't know whether he's judged unfairly or not. Last season was not a strong season. If Ramon's point is that those the receivers are terrible, I think that there's something to be said for that. But the reality is I can't see a future in which Ryan Tannehill has like this third act and bounces back and does anything besides serves as a mentor, working his way forward.
Well, see, and that's where I'm coming from as far as Ryan Tannehill goes. He came in and had a hot finish to the 2019 season, and the expectation from there just grew. And then you look at the way he's positioned on this team, and historically, the Titans have been a run-first style of offense. When you mention the Tennessee Titans, you mention what first? Derrick Henry. But the expectation for the quarterback is, hey, he's supposed to save us. When in actuality, the offense doesn't allow him, Mike, to actually be the guy here as opposed to other places. Like even looking at other places, like Sam Howell is expected to make plays there. Mac Jones is expected to make plays in New England. Here it's like, okay, well, Tannehill, do something for us when we don't really even do anything through you.
Yeah, and when he was good, it wasn't just that Derrick Henry was having his phenomenal seasons, but A.J. Brown was there, Corey Davis was playing well, Arthur Smith had that system that worked out well. And I think all along the idea was, Ryan Tannehill, you are going to be the signal caller, the leader, the field marshal, and the guy who kind of, runs the show. Almost like, you don't want to say caretaker, but that kind of quarterback. And I think that's who he still is. And the thing is now you don't have Derrick Henry as absolute peak. The offensive line is falling apart. The receiving core is totally falling apart. And you're saying, well, now we have this aging sort of custodial caretaker guy who does some things well. That's just not going to be adequate for the team moving forward. And you also can't anticipate a guy like that is going to age in a way where he's still going to be useful 2, 3, 4, even 1 year down the line.
I mean, let's look at the AFC South right now, Mike. Like, that's the point right here is in the AFC South, Ryan Tannehill is supposed to be top 2 in this list, right? As far as like quarterbacks in this league. But you got Trevor Lawrence. That's probably going to end up being the guy. You have the kid from Ohio State. What's his name off top? C.J. Stroud. And then, of course, let's go to Indianapolis, where Anthony Richardson is. A good bit of people might put Ryan Tannehill 3 or 4 more often than 2 or 1 if you're talking about position them or rank them.
Right, and I would be inclined to put him second overall behind Trevor Lawrence right now because, again, Anthony Richardson in particularly is a speculative ball player. And to a degree, so is Stroud. And like maybe the thing is, by the end of the season, I could say, well, we're either going to have Stroud ahead of Tannehill or not, and I bet it might be ahead. And there's one guy you didn't mention, of course. It's the guy who's in camp right now, Will Levis. There's a chance that by the end of the season, Ryan Tannehill is number 5 on that list, and I don't think that's unrealistic at all. I'm not a huge Will Levis fan for what it's worth, but that's a possibility there, and that's the reality for a team that when a guy is like possibly 3rd, 4th, 5th best in his division, and he's in his 30s, and he's kind of on the second half of his career, and on his downside of his productivity with that team has to be looking in the direction of moving on from him, and I think that's what the Titans are doing.
So as far as unfairly judged, that's what I'm saying, right? Like even you said, I'm not even a big Will Levis fan, but I have an idea in my mind that he may jump in front of Ryan Tannehill. That's a little different, Mike. Like come on. As a pro, I'm gonna be like, man, screw this team. Give me my check and get me out of here.
Well, if Tannehill did that, he wouldn't find any other suitors. He'd find teams saying, "Hey, can you be the mentor for C.J. Stroud or Young?" That's the kind of job he would get. And we don't, as fans, do a good job honoring and respecting the fact that these quarterbacks have 10-year careers as starters.
Right.
And in those 10 years, in their best years, they're a Pro Bowl guy, et cetera, and they lead a team to the playoffs, et cetera. We tend to just end up ripping those guys. We rip Andy Dalton. We rip Ryan Tannehill. You rip at Derek Carr, and then you look back at their career, it's like, oh, wait, that guy was a heck of a ball player. He was one of the 20 best in the league for many, many years there. That's kind of where Tannehill is. And the flip side of that, of course, is on the one hand, we don't respect them enough. But on the other hand, we have to be realistic. That's who they are, and they're not necessarily going to get you very far if you keep relying on them year after year after year.
I think there's a little more optimism here in terms of Will Levis. I know initially when he was drafted, the fans weren't so hot on it. Now they've kind of given him a little bit more of a chance. They heard from him in rookie mini camp. Look, the guy is a great leader. You can see that. But what he does on the field is really going to be what matters. Mike, what would you say in terms of at least taking advantage of possibly learning from Tannehill, behind Tannehill from a year, like that this could maybe set up for a really good situation in the future for him in particular? Because you look like a guy like Anthony Richardson. He doesn't have really anybody to be behind, to learn behind. And he, in my opinion, has the most growth that he needs to have happen.
Yeah, he has the most growth, and he's behind Gardner Minshew, who's kind of an odd dude. I'm sure he's going to put a lot of effort into being the mentor, but I don't know what experiences he brings to the table. Yeah. And Tannehill brings a diversity of experiences to the table, including being on a Dolphins team that went through turmoil, had bad offensive lines, had bad coaching. Tannehill himself is a guy who's changed positions in college and had to come in under those circumstances. So that brings a lot to the table. On the one hand, I'm excited for Levis having that opportunity. On the other hand, I have the roster up, and I'm looking at the receiving core right now. And the best thing is good coaching. The second best thing is good receivers, I think, and good weapons. And the third thing would be have that mentor quarterback around. And I think Levis has the third thing. I know at the top of the org chart he has the first thing in terms of Vrabel, but I don't know if he has that second thing, a receiving core.
And we've also had this conversation on here. Could this be Derrick Henry's last year? They go and they draft Tajay Spears in the third round. They still have Hassan Haskins from last year when they drafted him out of Michigan. Do you see this starting to phase Derrick out? Type of thing. They're still going to run the ball, but maybe with some new guys in the future.
I think they have to. They have to think in terms of the reality of even if Derrick Henry has blown every curve in terms of every expectation and the curse of 370 and all those other things. So he is that special guy. He's that guy on that LaDainian Tomlinson, Eric Dickerson level that he kind of breaks all of the rules. You can't keep expecting break the rule this year and then break the rule next year and next year. So this year, I think it makes sense. You bring in Spears. You can rotate guys a little bit more. They have to be thinking in terms of a contingency plan. And, I've been looking at some of the blogs, and there's still hey, will Derrick Henry get traded storyline out there. It's not going to happen. No one's going to give the Titans Derrick Henry value for Derrick Henry. He's going to be staying with the team. But they should be mindful of the idea that he needs to rotate more, and he's not going to be there for the long term.
Mike Tanier, our guest here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Mike, between the rookie quarterbacks in the AFC South, Stroud, Richardson, and Levis, which one landed in the best situation?
Oh, my goodness. That is hard to say. I would probably go with Richardson, partly because the Colts, after all these years of Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, young and new, Colts fans, the organization, the owner, they're going to give him a full year and then some.
Sure.
Because this is the first time since Young that they've had that. I think Shane Steichen coming in from Philadelphia, where they nurtured Jalen Hurts, is going to take a patient approach, and he's going to do all of those things with read options, zone read, RPO, all of that to make a good opportunity there. They did add a little bit at receiving core. They have some other pieces in place. I always worry. I'm a big fan of D'Amico Ryans. And I always worry about a rookie quarterback like C.J. Stroud when you come in with the defense coach. Because defense coaches, first time you turn the ball over, get that kid out there, get the veteran in there. On 3rd and 13, I want a 5-yard pass and a punt so my defense can take the field. That's the way those guys think. And I think that Texans organization has been downtrodden for a long time, and it's going to be a while for them to get back up. So I would say Richardson first and Stroud second. And, of course, Levis is in an interesting position because he is not the starter. He's not a day one starter. So it's more of a unique opportunity for him.
Mike, there's a lot of talk around Nashville about an up-tempo offense, and Traylon Burks has talked about it in media availability. Some of the players, too, have kind of hinted that it's something the Titans maybe want to use a little bit more under Tim Kelly as their offensive coordinator. Is tempo really enough to move the needle for you on this offense? We had the discussion last week of, does tempo cover up the fact that you don't really have any receivers other than Traylon Burks? And it's an interesting discussion, but how much does that matter for this offense?
I need to see it. I need to see what that looks like because I cannot picture it with the personnel you've got there. Okay. When you tell me an up-tempo offense, I guess I could see a Chip Kelly type of up-tempo offense where it's super run-heavy, but you're getting to the line more quickly. But as a cure-all for the fact that it's one of the slowest on paper rosters I've seen in terms of the speed of the receivers, et cetera, it doesn't look like a logical solution to me, and it's not something I can visualize after years of ground and pound for the Tennessee Titans.
As far as these young quarterbacks coming in general, man, like how much of a rinse and repeat will we get when it comes down to drafting young quarterbacks? Because next year's class already been looked at. We went through a list earlier of like college tiers as far as that goes. Mm-hmm. How and why has it gotten this way too?
In what way? Because it seems like there's already 2 or 3 guys who look like they're top 5.
I know as far as just the rinse and repeat of it. Like if he don't work, then he's out right after that, you know?
Right. I think it's very much going to be case by case because if you look at it, I think the big rinse and repeat we saw, okay, maybe a little bit with Malik Willis down there, but he was a 3rd-round pick. That's different. It's when these top 5 goes. I think the ones that you'll see right away is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has extenuating circumstances as to why that is the case, and you didn't necessarily see it elsewhere. For example, Trey Lance. He's still getting an opportunity here after all these injuries and all. He's getting that opportunity. So I don't know. It's going to be a situation where it comes down to let's see who's drafting in the top 5 next year. If it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will probably be patient. You know, if it's the Commanders, who knows? Because who knows who owns the team and who's going to be coaching it there. So it comes down to the situation, the owner, the general manager. I think you will see teams with a quick hook, but I don't think it's going to be a common thing in the NFL.
With that being said, though, too, is it kind of fair to expect college-style offenses in the NFL, or is the NFL too bulletproof in how they operate by, hey, pro-style versus college-style? Because a lot of these quarterbacks don't go under center anymore. You see what I'm saying? Like, should we expect, and I'm being selfish, a Tennessee-style concept in the NFL?
You see, I mean, Tennessee still runs a lot of under center. The Patriots run a lot of under center, which means all the Belichick guys run a lot of under center. So it's out there. But if you watch the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, go to the Super Bowl with a 2nd-round pick as their quarterback, teams are taking note of that. And that's an offense that has a lot of what we think of as collegiate principles in there, heavy on the RPOs, heavy on the zone reads, things like that. The NFL is never going to look like the really way out college offenses. Okay. It's never going to be what Tennessee's doing. You know, and you know, Chip Kelly tried to do his thing there, and it didn't work. And now he's doing it at UCLA. You don't get that, but the elements always come in. And I think as the NFL moves forward, it is going to be more spread offenses, more zone reads, more things like that we think of as collegiate because they work. And it also is helpful for these young quarterbacks to not come in after 3 years of success in one system and say, now you got to take a 7-step drop and you got to do this and that. I don't think that that's the wave of the future.
Wow.
Mike, I've got to ask you about Aaron Rodgers. As much as we make fun of him on this show, and we do, we like to take shots at him. I really am curious, like, Mike, if he doesn't have the season that he intends to have this next year in New York, and look, they've got the pieces there, especially on defense now, and he's pretty much handpicked his receivers. Like, if he doesn't have that, do you see him being there a year and then he's gone, he's retired, or whatever wild thing he decides to do after that?
Yes, I do. I think that's the most likely scenario. Is that even he has like I anticipate he can have a pretty good season.
Yeah.
You know, like a 10-win season and Pro Bowl alternates, like that kind of thing. And then just saying, I'm fed up with this. I don't like living in New Jersey. I don't like New York. I'm going to go host The Price is Right. Whatever.
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Just he's not taking the Jeopardy job over Ken Jennings, over his dead body. But I was just looking because I was doing a thing on Quentin Williams, the defensive tackle for the Jets, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He wants a new contract, franchise tag. And it's like, well, why isn't this getting done? Aaron Rodgers' cap hit for the Jets next year is $107 million. Ooh. Now, that's just because all the leftover money from all the Packers contracts and everything just got stuffed there. Like, let's get the trade done, and let's stuff all the money into 2024. And Joe Douglas, the Jets, they know they got to clean that up. They got to take care of that, but that's going to require Aaron Rodgers' cooperation and his agent, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just a sign of how goofy this thing is right now, where there's like a fake $100 million cap hit that's preventing Quentin Williams from getting his contract right now. That's sitting there, and, we still have to play this game. Well, let's make Aaron happy. Let's make sure Aaron gets the contract he wants, and we're still doing this even after the trade.
With that, does Tom Brady take the booth, or does he become a team owner in the next year or so? I know he's already a team owner, but does he take the booth?
Oh, I don't know. I think he'll hate the booth.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Brady's going to love the booth, because it comes down to it's going to be Thursday night. It's going to be the Houston Texans against the Atlanta Falcons, and Tom Brady's going to have to sit down in that booth at some point. And what am I doing here? What am I? I am Tom Brady. Why is it coming down to this? So, if he's really getting into this Raiders ownership situation, I would say it's more likely he winds up GM, head coach, quarterback, all three.
Quarterback still.
And I have no idea. Something like that, like the Michael Jordan rules. Michael Jordan rules. Jordan was the owner / coach / player for, who was it, Washington for a while? That's what Brady would do. But, I don't know. Like, people will joke about Bill Belichick in the booth. Bill Belichick would last 10 seconds in the booth. And he would get mad at a director or producer and just storm away. You'd never hear him again. Brady might do the same thing if he's asked to go in there. Give us your opinion on Kenny Pickett, Tom Brady, and make sure that it's really positive for the Pittsburgh press. He might just say screw that and walk away.
I love it. Mike Tanier always bringing it with us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Mike, thank you so much as always.
Thanks, Mike.
You guys take care. Enjoy the week.
Thanks,
yes, sir.
Mike.
There he is.
That's good stuff.
100% right about Tom Brady. Why would someone who just studied like their life depended on it for 20 years keep studying like his life depends on it when it no longer really does?
Sure.
You're good. Take it to the house, bud. Go be great.
Little trick daddy right to take it to the house, huh? Take it to the house.
Take it to the house. I legitimately, I don't see Tom Brady ever going in anything halfway.
Right.
And that dude is going to figure out, that dude's going to figure out just how much studying you have to do color commentary at the level. I'm not going to salvage this, am I? Let's just go to break.
I didn't even do it this
time. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will. 1045 is I'm
Phrasing.
Done. I'm done.
Hey there, I am joined by our good friend, Dean Glasscock of Arbor Art Tree and Shrub, your expert in trees and shrub right here in Middle Tennessee. Okay, you got the crepe myrtle bark scale, the emerald ash borer, hackberry aphids. Dean, these are just a few pests that you can all take care of with your 7-app program. Can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the pressure with the pest and keeping them controlled is a big deal around here in Middle Tennessee. That's why you need to pick up the phone. Give us a call, 615-299-9999. Been around for almost 30 years. Super proud of that. Super proud of my employees. They've been very loyal. And, I just can't say enough about the company and the culture we have at Arbor Art Tree Care. So, again, 299-9999. Certified arborists. We know what we're doing. So we're going to be transparent and tell you the truth. But one of the big things is this 7-app program is a great investment for your investment around your home. It's reasonably priced. We come around 7 times a year. We monitor all your woody ornamentals, your small trees and shrubs around your home to make sure that we keep the pest under control. So give us a call, 615-299-9999. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you.
They are your experts, Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. You can check them out online at arborart.net. Call them 615-299-9999. That's Arbor Art Tree and Shrub.
104.5 The Zone brings you to a night that you don't want to miss as Buck Rising hosts his second Split Happens Bowling Bash with special guests and listeners coming up Thursday, June 22nd at King's Dining and Entertainment in Cool Springs. Join us for a fun night of bowling to benefit Home Street Homes Charity. Tickets on sale now at 1045thezone.com.
Yeah, as the warden of all things bowling, I might have to make an appearance at that one.
I will be probably if I don't have anything else.
Since it is my sport.
Man, I'm here for it, Will.
The family business.
You don't bowl?
Bowling.
Yes, I do bowl, but I'll watch Will because it's bowling.
Oh, right. But it's baseball season for Ramon. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's
time
true.
constraints
Who's
right now.
What do you bowl? Roll.
What do I bowl? I think like a 145 was my best, maybe.
Okay.
I'm hovering around there.
I'm usually around 120.
I've hit 170s before. 180.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh. Some days I'm really on.
Yeah.
Some days not so much.
You take the bowling class at UT?
I thought about it, but I did not. Because they don't. Well, when I was there, they didn't have it on campus like they did when you were there.
Oh.
Because they demolished half of the student center to build the new student center.
That's true.
So you had to go off campus to take the class, and
that's disgusting.
I don't see any scenario of that.
You took it, Kayla?
We didn't have
Y'all
bowling. But I loved bowling growing up. My mom was a really good bowler, so I guess I got the kind of that wrist.
The wrist. Flick of the wrist.
The flick of the wrist.
I did take jogging class, and I took basketball.
Jogging.
Yeah, I've already told you that I got a B in jogging. That was a big point of conversation in college.
As a runner, how you get a B?
You don't show up.
You don't show up.
Second semester senior year when I only had, I think, 10 hours of classes.
Yeah.
Just to get over the line.
Did you guys have billiards? Because I feel like that pays off. Like,
I believe they did.
You know?
I never took that one.
Because that was still in the student center, the old student center. The UC, as it used to be called. That's right.
Sir.
That place was kind of, they had hound dogs.
Oh.
They had Smokies, which now the new Smokies is just in the athletic complex, which I've already given you FOMO on that one.
You have. It's not all right. It got so much better.
That was exclusive dining for y'all athletes.
For student athletes.
For student athletes.
It started, I think, in 2012 or 13.
That's tough.
When I was there in 15, it was well-oiled machine at that point.
Well-oiled machine at that point. I can't believe they actually took away the wall, like the T. Like my gosh. Money wall is gone.
The money wall was legendary. They had a massive wall of ATMs.
What?
Every bank you could think
the
of.
The length of a block down at the bottom of the UC, and legitimately like any single bank you could ever need was
or credit unions.
Credit union, like all the above. Yeah.
You know how many times I visited the money wall with
lot?
the available balance of 40 when I actually had $20 in there?
The money wall is where the bottom level of the bookstore is now, if you've ever been to a Tennessee game. Yeah. And I guess that's Neyland Drive.
It's Neyland Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Right in front of the hill where they do the kickoff call-in show on the Vault Network.
I'll handle that overdraft on Monday.
Do you guys remember overdrafts back in the day with checks?
Oh, my gosh.
I dealt with that.
Oof, that was not
absolutely.
fun.
In high school.
That $30 that they hit you with after
in college,
the fact.
too.
In college, too, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can count the amount of times. No, I can't count. It was ridiculous.
Can you imagine? I can't count how many times I've been in line paying for something. And that decline hits you.
When was the last time that happened?
I'm going to be real. It's happened recently.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Because, like, the debit card I have, I don't like to keep money on it because of scammers and stuff like that. So I keep low cash on it.
I apologize for my...
I still get anxiety swiping the card. It's like, oh, Lord, please don't let this be declined. I got a job.
You're humble about it. I'll give you credit.
You've ever been in line and people behind you, dog?
Yeah. Oh, no, I have. I'm with you.
So you know what?
Bounce checks.
Just put this back.
Carmelo Anthony just announced his retirement.
Yeah.
What?
From the NBA.
Yep.
Hello, legend, man.
Dude, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
19 seasons.
Jeez.
In the NBA.
Wow.
Syracuse legend. Carmelo
Anthony.
National champion.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
Nuggets legend.
So him and Boeheim going out at the same time?
He was a legend with the Nuggets.
Yeah, he was.
For sure.
Him and Boeheim going out at the same
Forget
time.
about the Nuggets a lot.
Yep.
The Nuggets are one game away from the finals.
I know.
The NBA playoff ratings have been really good on ESPN and TNT.
Even though the games have been weird.
If they get Heat Nuggets in the NBA Finals,
Heat them Nuggets.
ESPN is not going to be happy.
No.
Even though those are easily the two best teams right now. And the Nuggets are the best team in
It's
basketball.
not the biggest draw, though, right?
Right, no. Celtics-Lakers is...
Right.
I would sit and watch every minute if it was Celtics-Lakers.
Can you imagine all the old videos we was going to see?
I know.
Yep.
That is the cool thing about the NBA is the history of it like that. And you get things like The Last Dance and... Yeah, it's
Can you
it's
imagine
pretty cool.
all the work some poor intern has putting together video reels for Lakers, Celtics?
Not an
Been
intern,
there, done
man.
that.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. A week out, yeah. I don't know. I remember that being my job when I interned in TV was like, all right, take this VHS tape into the control room because we don't have anything to edit VHS tapes with in the newsroom anymore. Take it to the control room where you can actually edit that stuff. You like wind it up, and find B-roll of X, Y, or Z coach from the '90s that's now, or player from the '90s that's now a coach. Like when Kelly Harper was hired at Tennessee, it was my job to take this massive box of like big tapes, go into one machine in the building. Yeah, it was beta. Go into this one machine in the building that could edit them. You like wind it up manually and to fast forward it or rewind it. And find B-roll of Kelly Harper or Kelly Jolly playing for Tennessee that then we could use on the news for that night.
Wow.
Yeah, that's legit.
Because you got to remember, even though things are now advanced, all the stuff back in the day, if you want anything back in the day, you're going to have to put it from this to this to this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Coming up, hour 4, as we finish off the show, 60 more minutes. Let's give 4s up around Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. The show gets better in the fourth quarter. Maybe keep one hand on the wheel if you're driving. Let's keep it between the navigational beacons. Yeah. But coming up, our first look at 2 Titans rookies in a Titans uniform as we continue on Ramon, Kale, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It is Ramon and Kayla with Window Nation. And guess what? We've got some great news from Window Nation. However, it is only until the end of the month. So you have several days left. So you can modernize and reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation and their best deal of the year. I just mentioned just till the end of May. Get 0% financing for 5 years. This is pretty much unheard of, folks. 0 interest for 5 years. So you want to jump on that now. On top of it, Window Nation will give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. You can protect and increase the value of your home today, something we all want to do. And you can go online to windownation.com.
And the best thing about Window Nation, all they do is windows. They are experts at it. They measure each window 3 times to ensure proper fit. Installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company, with 96% of them requiring no follow-up. So Kayla mentioned that investment. This is something you can trust with over 10,000 online positive reviews. Do the smart thing like Kayla and myself told you a second ago. Call 866-90-NATION or go online to windownation.com.
9:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. The conference finals in the NBA have become routes so far. The Miami Heat have a commanding 3-0 lead over Boston after defeating the Celtics yesterday 128-102. The Heat can clinch the sweep Tuesday night in Miami. Western Conference game for tonight, Denver at Los Angeles. The Nuggets can clinch a sweep and punch their ticket to the finals with a victory. To the NHL, Vegas 3, Dallas 2 in overtime. Vegas leads the series 2-0. Carolina at Florida this evening. The Panthers lead the series 2-0, having won both games in overtime. To golf, Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship by 2 strokes, earning his 3rd PGA title and his 5th major. And the Braves defeated the Mariners yesterday in Atlanta 3-2.
Travis d'Arnaud will lead off the inning and send a drive to left field. That's got a chance. Pollock on the run. That ball is gone. Home run. Travis d'Arnaud, his 1st of the year.
Atlanta took 2 of 3 from Seattle over the weekend. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour already on RKW, powered by All 4 Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count on All 4 Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit all4seasonsgarages.com/Nashville. We dive into the NFL headlines, talking Titans with you here in Hour 4, where you can join the conversation at 615-737-1045. The F&M Bank chat is open. It is lively this morning on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. 1045 The Zone TV keeps you updated on the go. A streaming tradition unrivaled in the world of sports talk radio. Alongside our 11-year NFL veteran, Ramon Foster.
Yay.
Our capitalized J journalist, Kayla Anderson.
Yes, sir, she is the bee's knees, Kayla. And she covers your favorite teams, Kayla. Let her ease your worried mind.
That's right, the musical stylings of Robert F. Walsh bringing us into Hour 4 as Jonathan Schaefer sits behind the glass, making the show happen.
Bert Hawkinson.
Jonathan Schaefer is...
Hold on. Sorry about that, Caleb.
Oh.
What's that? What happened?
Bert Hawkinson.
Bert Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is Bert even in the studio today? Where's Bert at?
I'm in here.
Robert. Oh, right.
Hey. Hello.
Welcome to the show.
What did you call me? Robert F. Walsh?
Yeah,
and the F is for funky, baby.
That was what I was going for.
That baby's got a stinky diaper. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
Just getting in here, doing my
Nice.
thing.
Just slanging and banging, huh?
Hey, Ramon knows how it goes.
Goodness.
We're talking about lifting weights, you know?
Oh, that's right.
Clanging and banging. That's what they call that. Don't get me fired.
The Baltimore Ravens signed a quarterback this morning.
They did. And he is a journeyman.
Josh Johnson has now played for 14 NFL teams.
His career path is insane. I've actually got this for you guys. He played for, this is in order, the Buccaneers, the 49ers, the Sacramento Mountain Cats, the Browns, the Bengals, the 49ers, the Bengals. The Bengals.
Bangers and mash.
Don't even know it.
That's a banger.
Bangers and mash out here.
The Jets, the Colts, the Bills, the Ravens, the Giants, the Texans, the Raiders, the Washington Commanders, San Diego Fleet, the Lions, the Los Angeles Wildcats, the 49ers, the Jets, the Ravens.
What?
The San Diego Fleet. That was an AAF team.
Teammates with Titans guard Daniel Brunskill, who was also a San Diego Fleet player, I believe.
Is he 60, Bert?
He might as well be. He is there just in case somebody gets a hangnail, somebody catches the flu, some 18th string wide receiver wants to catch passes after practice.
A game gets moved to Wednesday.
There you go. Hey, he did start for the Ravens. I think in COVID, inside the COVID season, I believe.
Yep.
Wasn't that Mason Rudolph versus
Oh,
Josh Johnson on like a Wednesday?
It was a Wednesday because I was on the air when it happened, and that was RG3 that started. And
that's right.
RG3 gets hurt, then Trace McSorley throws an 80-yard touchdown to Marquise Brown. Made me have a little bit of hope. I think the Ravens lost that game 13-12.
I believe that's correct.
Yep.
I remember watching that game, too. I was sweating out an over on a Wednesday. It was electric.
That's a great place to be on a Tuesday, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually thought for a second he was in camp with us in Pittsburgh for a little bit too.
Really?
He's not showing us being signed anywhere, but I'm thinking to myself, like, I feel like he was like in camp with us for a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. Would it shock y'all?
No, after that list?
Oh, nothing shocks me about his
you?
playing days. He started the game. So the video of Taylor Lewan shooting a fake bow and arrow at Josh Norman against Washington. Josh Johnson started that game. 100%.
Oh, my.
That would have been 2018.
Bert, how does this make you feel about y'all quarterback depth then?
Hey, it makes me feel like well, if we're being honest, if Lamar goes down, we're ruined anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like we're kind of like a glass cannon. Like we can shoot some cannonballs, but as soon as one little pebble gets thrown, one little bump in the road, it's all going to hell in a handbasket anyway. So it could be Josh Johnson, it could be me, it could be you, whoever the third string quarterback is inconsequential because it means literally nothing. It just if it comes to that point, then I'm already having a sad fall if Josh Johnson is starting games.
You already sad anyway because of what, Bert?
I'm back now, baby. I'm back now.
Yeah, you feel alive.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was because the team that you love is not going to play here except they're going to play across the pond. I thought you were still
Bert,
sad
I think
about
you need
that.
to go to London.
I would love. You have no idea. I've got a passport. I love fish sticks. I love chips. I love bad hygiene.
Right?
I love hairy
armpits.
armpit. Yes, same.
I got you.
I'm a big fan. I told my girlfriend to stop shaving them. I like braiding those things. I'm serious. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It gives you a little extra. It's getting cold at night now. It was cold this morning.
Something to cuddle
You
with.
need a little extra armpit hair to cuddle up to.
Out of all of that, I'm actually surprised you're able to get a passport, Bert. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Hey, they can't kick me out if I hadn't done anything yet. They have to give me the benefit of the doubt until something happens.
Or you get called.
Yeah, right. Going through customs. I mean, I can pass through customs. That ain't nothing wrong with that.
So the Wikipedia page for Josh Johnson is a wild place.
Right?
Because a lot of, by the way, Robert, just you can go back to the shadows.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you guys later.
I'm not as aggressive about it as Buck is. The Wikipedia page for Josh Johnson has all of the teams he's actually played for, but then it sprinkles in like Dillon Panthers 2014. Oh my God. The TC Williams Titans 2018. The Rockford Peaches 2019. The Gotham Rogues. The United States Olympic Curling Team 2021 is on here. The New York Jets.
Incredible.
That's pretty good.
It is. It's a long list of teams, man. I've never seen anybody with a rap sheet like this.
I'd love to hear his stories. Like, that would be, as crazy it is, because he's not anybody who's been a big name, he would have probably the best stories.
No lie, though, Kayla. Like, legit, and we're laughing at it, but this dude continually gets jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to respect it. He has something that teams like, and say what you want to about him, he's still able to cash in those part-time NFL checks, and that's a nice little payday.
NFL rookie premiere was over the weekend. Gave us our first look at Will Levis and Tajay Spears in Titans uniforms, and gives us the opportunity for Ramon Foster to complain again about offensive linemen not being invited.
I went on a major rant last year about this.
You did?
Yeah.
Have they ever been invited? I mean...
And I added the people who need to know I'm talking about them. I added the NFL and NFLPA and was like, hey, what y'all going to do about this? And you know what they did the next year?
Didn't do it.
You, Ramon Foster.
That thing started in 1994, NFL rookie premiere.
Okay.
I don't understand it either. And I'm not just taking your side because it's you. Like, I don't understand why you've got marketable players that are linemen on both sides of the football who just aren't invited to this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just not promoted at all.
They're not promoted, but they put them up on a pedestal because and this is rightfully so. You got to grab the guys who are the first round picks and the second round and the third round guys because you never know who's going to be your superstars. A.J. Brown being a second rounder, being a superstar. Devontae Adams being a superstar. Like, you got to be able to grab these guys. And a few of them, I'm just like, guy may end up being a role player, but you end up seeing him like Tank Dell, right? Might end up being another Cheetah. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, so you gotta cater to them because those are the guys that sell tickets and become the face of your league too. So I get it. The big boys, man. Again, the statless positions of offensive line. What are you supposed to do about that?
If there was going to be an O lineman in recent history to go and be here to represent, who would it have been?
Recent offensive line, I think Orlando Brown Jr. was pretty good at it. As far as like young OL,
Penei Sewell
is another guy that jumps off the leaderboard. Myles Garrett being a defensive lineman should have been, thinking about that group of guys. This year, I think Darnell's a very fascinating guy who's a big market guy in Chicago.
100%.
I mean, let's look at Paris Johnson Jr. Could have been there. Arizona, like.
That's a good point.
What does Arizona have besides him at this point?
Harris is a great human, too. Real personable.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
I would even throw Kalijah Cansey.
I'd put Skronsky in there as a guy that's the son of a really good football player. Comes from a football family.
Why
Great
not?
point.
From a big market in Chicago.
I'm sound biased when I say this. I think it's easier to project offensive and defensive linemen as play more than it actually is a wide receiver or I hate to keep using his name, but Tank Dell. Like, stuff got to go right for him to be a stud. You know, it relies on his quarterback play as far as what he's going to be able to do.
But if it goes right, it's going to go real right.
And that's what you're afraid of. If we leave him off this list and he becomes a star and we say, hey, man, come do some stuff for us. It's like, well, what about in 2023 when you guys didn't invite me out? Oh, now you want me. And that's the thing about those dudes. When they get those opportunities to really just drop it on the table and be like, y'all forgot me, so I'm going to run my own social media content. I'm going to do what I want to. You can't build me up.
And then you get buzzing with the boys.
See what I'm
because
saying?
of it.
See what I'm saying?
Offensive linemen don't feel promoted, so they just promote themselves.
Hey.
A lot.
Where's the collection plate at?
And then they get fans to call them dad.
Daddy.
Ooh.
Which I never liked.
I'm going to be real. As an outsider seeing that, I'll cringed at it.
Really weird.
I would never want to be called mom.
Never call another grown man your father.
We have 40-year-old men calling a young guy dad.
I'm not into fan shaming. That is one thing I will shame people on.
I laughed a hard laugh.
As you should.
I did.
It's stupid. It was really stupid. One thing to be like a high school student who loves the Titans.
Yeah.
One thing to be like, I was in high school when Taylor Lewan was drafted. It's one thing for people my age to say it. We got freaking 40-year-old dudes walking around calling a left tackle their dad. What are we doing?
Hey, Taylor.
I'm so glad that day is over.
Hats off, my brother. You were able to capitalize on that one.
So glad that foolishness is over. Coming up next, who is the one player you are most interested to see or hear from at Titans OTAs? We'll give our thoughts, and we'll take your phone calls as well. 615-737-1045. Who is the one Titans player you are most interested in hearing from during off-season workouts here this week? That's coming up next as we continue in Hour 4. It's RKW on 104.5 The Zone. It's Monday morning at RKW, and it's powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone. Talking Titans with you this morning and asking the people, both on this show and not on this show, on the phone lines at 615-737-1045, which player are you most interested to see and hear from at OTAs? And I ask the question because I feel like you've got legitimate options on both sides of the football, whether it's Treylon Burks and how good a shape he is in a year removed from the issues he had last year as a rookie.
Yeah.
Or even guys on the defensive end of the football, some of the new guys like Azeez Al-Shire and Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think are legitimate options as well. Kayla, I'll start with you on this one of the player you are most excited to see tomorrow.
Christian Fulton.
Okay.
Because Christian Fulton had a lot coming off of last year in terms of the injuries, the being able to stay healthy. Even Mike Vrabel at some point kind of picking him out with David Long Jr. saying they've got to remain healthy or try to stay healthy throughout a season, which means usually changing what you're doing in the offseason. And one person that I have followed for the last couple of years is Christian Fulton on Instagram specifically. And every other day, I swear, it's a new, video of him working out. And I don't actually think he's been here. He's been doing some workouts with like his personal people, kind of like how Kevin Byard has done it.
Yeah.
And he is working his butt off. I will say that. Like, it looks like he's had a good routine. I don't know specifically who he's working with, but it looks like he has put in more work than I've ever seen him do in the past. And maybe that's because he said, I got to put this out here that I'm doing the work. I'm really interested, though, to see, what he looks like now that he potentially is joining the team in OTAs.
That's real fair, Kayla.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot on his shoulder. People are expecting him to be a guy that can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. And like you said, getting called out, whatever you want to call it, well, it was just a little bit of truth serum, but you were named publicly, in front of you, Kayla, as far as like somebody that has to do better. That it really is, because you also got to look at it like and I'm not saying that's truth, but like, is there bitterness attached to that? Like, is it spiked behind it for a guy coming in, or is it, hey, watch me do work? Like,
he's put videos up, so you'd think there's something kind of motivated.
And everybody has that, and I say this often, that aha professional moment. And I think that one was for him. It's going to be interesting to see how it switches for him, as a pro.
Mm-hmm.
My guy, Harold Antonio Landry III.
Is he going to be there?
Then that's why I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Does he work? How does the knee respond? Does he still look quick? What's his power looking like? Now, the leadership skill comes into play. Not saying that he was ever a bad leader before, but this team really needs its guys to really step up this year. He's one of those guys. Mm-hmm. He's one of those top salary cap type of guys on this team. And considering you lost Bud this offseason, you end up getting a couple of guys in free agency. Like, the guys that's been here got to show and prove here. Harold Landry, to me, is the guy that I'm most looking forward to seeing if he's available for OTAs. You've been able to talk to him. Are you having any resets or pushback in this injury? How the knee? Like, there's a lot of questions that kind of go into it. So I'm really looking forward to what Harold Landry is going to look like.
Fair.
Jonathan Schaefer?
Andre Dillard.
Okay.
I want to know if this guy is the guy at left tackle. I want him to go out there and make a statement. I want him to go out there and be like, yes, I'm worth my contract. Yep. Forget what's happened in the past. Forget that I was beaten out of a spot on the line. Andre Dillard needs to go out there and play left tackle because that's his position. He's not a right tackle. You're not moving that guy.
And I think just to see him in OTAs, Jonathan, just in general, because I want to see his mentality, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we've heard he's a kind of a quiet guy, and we saw that in the press conference. I want to see, like, him being here the last month or so. Like, how has he adapted? How has he built some chemistry with those other O-linemen? Like, I just want to see that part of it, too, since we can't see as much in OTAs as a progression.
Yeah.
But just how he's fitting in with this team and maybe just how he is as a not dominant, but, kind of like, I'm here, I'm establishing myself.
This is a franchise with a tradition at that position. Yeah. With Brad Hopkins, with Michael Roos, with Taylor Lewan, all pro performers.
Yeah.
And he needs to go out there and say, I'm the guy, I'm the man, this is my spot, I'm locking it down.
Yep.
As much as he's getting paid also, he's getting paid like a left tackle. Not like a swing guy that's there to back up maybe or be a bridge to a rookie. He's paid like a guy who is ideally your left tackle for the next 3 seasons, while Peter Skronsky becomes your left guard.
That's what I was thinking. I was just going to ask you that. Where do you see this line fitting up if Dillard does come in and take that spot?
Peter inside.
Yeah, Peter has to be Peter at left guard. So that's very fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see a lot of the rookies, but I think it's too early to have any legitimate takeaways from guys who have only been in the facility for a week. Right. So I'm not going to say Will Levis. I'm not saying Skronsky, not Tajay Spears. For me, it's a guy who was in the rookie minicamp process this time last year. It's Kyle Phillips for me. I think this team is really banking on Kyle Phillips taking a step forward and being a legitimate slot receiver in this league, and that concerns me a little bit. Obviously, Treylon Burks is the wide receiver that's going to get the most play at that position, the most interest from Titans fans because he was brought in to replace A.J. Brown. He was brought in to be the alpha of that room. But I think a good Kyle Phillips makes Treylon Burks a lot better. I think a good Kyle Phillips, a bigger and healthier Kyle Phillips, really adds a dimension to this offense that could make them better than they were last year because they had trouble replacing the production that he had in camp and preseason. And we were out there every day last summer in training camp. Kyle Phillips was a first down machine with Ryan Tannehill, and they developed a chemistry really, really quickly. I'm interested to see if that's continued despite Phillips' injuries last season.
Yeah, because every year it's kind of like there's a guy that connects with him, right? And he built that eventually with Chig. But you're right. From the get-go, it was definitely Kyle Phillips. Like, we were talking about Kyle Phillips in camp like he was going to be the dude.
Right.
And if he didn't get hurt, I think he would have had some really bright moments.
Yeah.
I also ask about, could he be put back there in the return game? Are they going to give him another opportunity back there?
I would guess that's a Tajay Spears job now.
You think?
Probably so.
Like he lost his opportunity just with the muff punts?
No, I don't think he lost it as much as I think Tajay Spears.
The speed.
Well, what I was going to say is that I don't know if he's totally lost it, but Tajay has earned the opportunity that you bring in a guy in the third round.
Yeah.
You're going to give him that kind of chance to succeed. But I think for Kyle, it's more so let's master one thing. Let's be a really good wide receiver on an offense that needs a good wide receiver in a big way before we try to master something else.
Sure.
To your point, though, Caleb, about that question because of the fumbles, that does weigh a little bit against them in a sense.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help at all, especially when it happens more than once. So I look at it and it's like, yes, in the NFL, it is who is the new shiny toy. Right now, Tajay is. And I think it's fair and appropriate considering he has a history at that also. Kyle Phillips, though, like you said, is very interesting. If he does, bulk up could be 10 pounds of muscle.
I think I saw in that video of the sled, he looked a little even more bulked up.
Yeah. And that could be the survival of, taking those hits that he took or somebody grabbing his lower body and twisting a little bit and not being hurt by it and stuff like that. If he is able to be a weapon this year, that is a big bonus. But that clock is ticking for guys like him. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but unless you become a dude that quick, only ones that get that retread is first, maybe second rounders when it comes down to your playmaking ability because we're already speaking about what Tajay can do to replace one position of his. If he doesn't find an opportunity to get on the football field at his drafted position, wide receiver, we're looking over his shoulder already. Like this is what you call sifting through the bottom of the roster to go find somebody else on another team possibly somewhere. Sure. So it sucks, but that's the business. If you want to be a good team, you can't settle for what's in-house just because it is in-house. When it comes to, I don't want to call them a bottom of the roster guys, but when it comes to guys that don't have that mystique about them, that high draft pick on them, or that emotional data bank of just time with the coach.
Kyle was a 5th rounder, right?
Heck, I think he was he a 6th, if I'm not mistaken? I thought it was a little bit later than that.
He was 6th.
Yeah.
Gosh.
5th rounder.
Yeah.
5th rounder. He's got opportunity. And opportunity means right here in front of him.
But like you're saying, can't get injured, can't get beat up because you're going to be pushed back down.
You're going to be pushed. It's the next guy. You got a guy from right down the street here. Colton Dowell is ready for an opportunity. They don't play the same position.
Yeah, different styles.
Yeah,
for sure.
different styles. But imagine if we're not talking about Kyle Phillips this year again in training camp the way we were last year.
I think the Titans should have added another slot, a speedier slot, because Kyle Phillips is never going to be a guy to stretch the defense. He's not the Tyreek Hill kind of slot. He's more Hunter Renfrow. He's Adam Humphries. He's gadget in between the linebacker and the safety in a zone on a third down. But ultimately, Kyle Phillips being a third down specialist is not the worst thing for this offense, and it's certainly not the worst thing for him.
No.
Right.
Give the Titans an option and a chance to be successful on 3rd and 10. The amount of conservative play calls that we saw a year ago on even like 3rd and 10, because the Titans didn't trust Dennis Daly to block for more than a second and a half. I'm serious. I'm not trying to take shots at the guy. It's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're 100% correct, though, too. But Kyle Phillips has a unique set of skills, though. Well, I told you earlier, last weekend, we were looking at his kickoff returns. Like, he is special and that can be special.
Got some wiggle.
He got some wiggle. I like that. That's a football term right there. Yeah, he got some wiggle.
You know what? Kyrus Jackson, and this is going to be interesting to see what his role is, because Mike Vrabel had said during the press conference last week that he was not really available yet, but they kept it. They signed him to a free agent deal.
Yeah.
I'm just interested, like, what do they see in him that they're going to want to give him an opportunity, since he wasn't even at rookie minicamp technically?
Well, he was good in 2020, but that guy disappeared the last 2 seasons. There's a reason why Georgia couldn't use him successfully. And if Georgia can't use your talent, I don't know. I don't have high expectations for any undrafted guy until they make the team.
Sure.
Appreciate that, Will.
Until you make the team. I feel like you would agree with that, right?
No,
you gotta,
100%.
You have to earn it. Like, you know what I meant. It's not that I don't respect undrafted guys. I'll respect them after they've made the team because they've earned that. But right now, it's just you're just kind of a name.
You are just a name. I just had to. I got to make fun of it because I was.
Did you feel like
guy.
that?
Heck yeah, I did. And truthfully,
embrace it.
I judged them the same way as that too. Like, I could know some of the names of the guys that came. The guy that had the lone kick return against us from Auburn years back that shook guys in and out. And was it Auburn or
Sammy
Alabama?
Coates?
No, not Sammy Coates. It was an undrafted guy.
No, it's Alabama.
Never mind.
Javier Arenas,
the one that really embarrassed us. He had a catchy name.
Which one?
Let's not go
I'm
down
serious.
Bama fans are right now rejoicing.
Oh God.
But I tell you what,
52-49.
You knew where I was going, didn't you? You knew where I was headed, my boy.
Could it be my school, Ramon?
Couldn't be my team.
Couldn't be my team. Couldn't be my alma mater.
But what I'm saying is, though, whether you come in with a name or not, Vontaze Burfict was one of those dudes that came in and he still had to earn it and end up proving up to be a high-value guy as an undrafted, too. But that's just how it goes. But me personally, y'all hear me speak about these dudes, like, I'm excited for even the draft picks. But even having still the mindset of a vet, I look at Skoronski the same way I was looking at an undrafted guy, Karras. Prove it.
Sure.
And I think it's fair to actually put everybody in the box like that when they come in. So the fact that none of us really mentioned like rookies as far as the guys what's our expectation from, I think is very proper. You shouldn't have to come in and get a gold crown on top of your head because you're a high draft pick. You better earn it the same way Harold Landry had to, Derrick Henry had to, Kevin Byard. I almost mentioned his name as somebody I'm expecting.
I don't know if he's going to be there.
I don't expect him to be there.
I don't think he will be. He usually.
He's always there, Kayla.
At OTAs?
He's at least more there than not.
But he does do a lot of stuff in the offseason with his guy that he trains with.
And I did too. That's fair.
But I think OTAs he's been at. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because Derek hasn't been there.
But you know Derek is working, and when Derek
I
show
know,
up,
and that's kind of how Kevin has been.
He was there last year because the Titans mic'd him up during OTAs last year on a tweet that was sent out on June 7th.
Okay. This will be that actually, then that's really interesting. Is he going to be there?
I doubt it. I absolutely doubt it. Things don't become mandatory until the middle of June.
Yeah.
And I would I think that's even up in the air, whether Kevin Byard is at mandatory OTAs.
And another thing, too, that you got to speak about is they had no defensive draft picks. So it's not like he got to teach up a young guy the same way they did, what was it, last year with Roger McCreary. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no mentorship going on.
And Amani's at that point now, too, that he's become kind of a leader.
He is, and it may be wise of him to actually step up even more. To take on that role, because we don't know what's going to happen with Byard. I hope Byard is here and he re-signs to get restructured to get more bread up front. Because not all things are out. They asked him for a pay cut because why wouldn't we ask you for a pay cut if we feel a certain type of way about you?
Can I ask you then, if that's the case, would you be like, yeah, I'm not going to OTAs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would. And that may be petty.
No, it's not petty. It's realistic.
They asked you to take a pay cut.
Yeah. And when you can control when you show up, and man, as long as I do my job and I do it well, you getting the vocal me, you getting the mentor me, that's bonus. That ain't in my job description whatsoever. That's called being a good teammate.
Right.
But when you start mixing pride and business and money, a lot of stuff changes. And I ain't saying that's Byard. That's just me sitting here in this studio in a position, not in a position that Byard's in and has never been in either. But for an all-pro dude to be asked for a pay cut and not released or traded to go seek a different contract after the fact, I'd be a little iffy about that.
Coming up next as we wrap up the show, the latest on an NFL investigation that is expanding into a new wave of a certain type of rule violations. This has become a common topic among college and professional football players. We'll dive into exactly what's going on coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up our Monday morning here on RKW on 104.5 The Zone. The Buck Rising Show is on deck. Sounded like a fun event over the weekend with Greg Cosell. Rod Slay on emceeing duties, I hear. That's what the streets are saying.
Yeah.
Looks like fun. Robert Walsh is still hanging out in the studio. Robert, how was the install live over the weekend?
Hold on. He's not available at the moment. He'll be with you in just a second.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, Bert.
Please hold.
Go ahead.
All right, ask again. Go for Will.
Yes, thank you so much. A longtime listener, first-time caller. How was the install live over the weekend?
Well, first off, appreciate you listening, Will. Hopefully we keep you entertained on your way to work. The install was great this weekend, man. You got to hear a lot of – I was expecting a lot more dumb questions from the crowd. And honestly, Titans fans impressed me.
Yeah.
Everybody came with intellectual, great questions for Greg. I thought you got some good answers. Greg did not spare any feelings, though, when it came to talking about the wide receivers or Malik Willis. He was astute. Maybe that was a good word for it. Maybe not. I didn't do well with words in college, but I kind of just say stuff and hope that it sticks.
I like that, Bert.
And you say things that like sound like they work, and eventually people would just think you're smart and be like, oh, he must have some kind of long way that was supposed to work out. But
indubitably.
Bingo.
There you go.
Fun weekend. I wish I got to see Greg. I thought we were going to get to see him get a little rowdy, but he was not as rowdy as I would have hoped. That was the only downside. I kept trying to buy Greg shots, kept trying to get him like, oh, you want a lemon drop? You want a green tea? You want some whiskey on the rocks? And he was just a regular, degular kind of dude.
All about biz, huh?
Yep, he just wanted to talk ball. He did not want to do any shots.
Football guy.
I was expecting shots, bro.
Football guy.
You're usually better at being persistent like that, and I'm a little let down.
Well, sure, I was spread out too, man. I was trying to get different people to have a good time, where it was like, hey, and then I had to worry about myself. You can't have too good of a time too quickly. You got to be professional, You can't just come in somewhere and just be a party animal. You got to have your business suit on sometimes, and that was me. That was me on Saturday. So when it was over though, I was turning up.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
You know who I am. You know how the kind of party I bring around.
We'll leave some mystery, Bert. Okay.
Interesting that. Thank you, Robert. Back to the shadows.
I'm going to have a party.
In the wake of 5 players being suspended last month, the NFL is investigating a second wave of potential violations of its gambling policy.
Oh, jeez.
Uptick in gambling-related issues comes 5 years after the Supreme Court ruling. Now, 33 states, D.C. and Puerto Rico, have launched legal betting markets, which regulated sports books in the U.S., handling more than $220 billion in wagers since 2018. Wow. We've had 7 NFL players, at least 1 assistant coach, and an undisclosed number of team employees who have on the record violated the league's gambling policy, and now the league is looking into a second wave of perhaps even more players with this. Jamison Williams among those who have been suspended for 6 games for allegedly placing bets not on NFL games while at a team facility. Jets wide receivers coach Miles Austin suspended by the league for wagering on table games and non-NFL professional sports. I think there's going to be a way more of this before it slows down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this: they have to be more clear. Like that's the thing about athletes. You hand guys the pamphlet. Okay, cool. So just don't do it here. Not realize it. Don't do it here, there, while also being there. And no, you can't bet through somebody else's app. Like you really gotta. I tell people all the time, like athletes for the most part are soldiers. Just tell them what they can do, and just leave it at that. Like leaving it up for them to read through stuff for the most part, you're going to have this happen more and more.
Yeah. This isn't surprising that, this has opened up kind of these situations because I think we all could have agreed, once you make it legal, and all these different, it's going to probably cause some issues. Now, I think they can be fixed long term.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, Ramon, there's going to have to probably be a lot more stricter guidelines. They're going to have to be verbal and visual guidelines, not just here's a pamphlet, read through it. And I don't know how they do it in the NFL right now with that kind of stuff.
And here's the thing. Most times you only hear one word, legal.
Right.
Not realizing, again, workplace rules and regulations that go along with that.
So the league has reportedly beefed up its in-house technology. It has security personnel partnering with sportsbooks and integrity firms. That seems to be a business that's grown. The sort of integrity firms that have flagged some of these things, like the Alabama baseball coach and situations like that. I think where this is going to end up going eventually is you put your social security number in these apps in order to use them. You're going to have the NFL flagging social security numbers where you can't even sign up for an account on these websites.
Right.
That, I think, is the next wave of where this is going to go. And honestly, I think it's probably what should happen. If it's this big of an issue and you've got 7 guys suspended already that we know of, I just know at Tennessee in the meetings we had, and I started as an athlete there in 2015 before it was legalized nationally. We had monthly meetings of, hey, if you follow one rule, it's please don't gamble. Because if you gamble on one thing, if you even have a March Madness pool for money, that is gambling on basketball, and you are done for a year, and we have no appeals process with the NCAA. Legitimately. And then you do it twice, and you're done forever.
The one thing for the guys that have that itch, though, is that $5,000 you can potentially win it gonna really just make you want to miss a whole year when you can bring in $5 million?
Right.
Oh, go to the casino if you want to. Like, there's no bar against that.
Yeah.
Like, play poker. Go play blackjack
Horse racing
or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Horse
hit the
racing is
slots.
fair.
There's things to
You
do.
can do that.
Right. Fun show this morning. Appreciate Mike Tanier. Appreciate Josh Ward for stopping by. Back at it again 6 a.m. tomorrow. It'll be Ron Slay Day on RKW.
Hey.
Joining us an hour 4 tomorrow. We'll revisit some of the things Mike had to say as well. As the week continues, we'll talk to you in the morning. And Ramon Foster, we'll talk to you right now.
You got to remember, y'all, listen to me. Your Instagram live, your Twitter fingers, and your mic is always hot.